Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of the X Button, Season 5, Episode 28. I am your host, Alejandro, and with me making his return to the show after the start of the new era of the one-on-ones and since first appearance is Episode 200, Rick Davis. How are you doing, Rick?
I'm okay. It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
How are you?
It sure has been. I'm feeling pretty good, especially after this new gym rhythm that I've got going since I came back from my trip. And after we finish recording, I'm going to the gym afterwards. So I'm kind of like getting into that flow of night gym, and I'm really feeling it. Shirts are like less tight, and that's to me like the biggest win for that. But besides something colossally stupid that happened right before we started recording, I'm doing good. Good to see you. Can't wait to talk about a few things. I feel like we could get some spice here. I know that you're a master of specific words, but before we get into that, this is just a reminder that this is the X Bottom Podcast, Escapes Gaming Podcast that posts every Fridays from 10 a.m. onwards, God willing. Available on the YouTube channel Escape Gaming, as well as most audio services around the world, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the like. You can find links in the RSS feed at tinyurl.com/escapegaming. If you enjoy our show, give us a like and subscribe, and I'll keep pimping episode 201, which was the Death Stranding 2 on the Beach spoiler cast me and Paul recorded after episode 200. It's doing really well in YouTube. So right now that we're at that point of the game's life cycle where a lot of spoiler casts are kind of popping up. Ours popped earlier than some. You can go listen to that one. Has a very personal take on it more than others that are more analytical. So you can go listen to that. And you can go write my personal reflection, not review of the game over at seasongaming.com. That's something an article I'm really proud of. But Rick, speaking of, how's your journey on the beach going? I see you have it in your list.
It's going. Yeah, I'm kind of in a weird spot right now where there's really nothing that's actually really entertaining me. It's kind of just time filler right now. And even though I do like the game, that very much.
It's kind of like you're in that mindset where it's like a game is not hitting and you're bouncing through menus because
it's just there's nothing that's holding my attention right now. No matter how much I like or don't like it, it's just nothing is really appealing to me very much. But I am playing it. I believe the PlayStation percentage counter, which would be obviously dealing with the main story. I think when I saw yesterday, it's at like 45%.
Okay. Do you remember what episode you are?
Yes, I just finished Chrysalis or whatever it's called. It's when you meet tomorrow.
Yes.
When you meet tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. You're on episode 8.
So I saw the cutscene that they showed beforehand, which they really should not have, but where she like beats all the robots by jumping into the tar and weirdness, and then something happened after that, which I can't remember what it was, but I'm basically right past that point. I basically just got to Hartman and got him on my on the
Magellan.
DHV Magellan. It's not the Magellan, it's the DHV
Magellan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't wait for you to learn what the DHV actually means. It's actually revealed. That's really funny. So
they've already said it. It's a deep tar something.
That's what
vessel.
they say right now. Wait until
really?
Wait until later. Yeah, there's a lot of the game backloads a lot of like lore dump and like explain of everything right near the end. Kind of similar to the first game that I revealed a lot near the end. So kind of like.
The first game didn't make a lick of sense until the last like hour.
So. Yeah, the last hour literally like brings that entire story together, and I feel like the second one does it too, and in a more emotional way. It kind of like what it touches on. So, but it's also a very predictable story too. It's like it feels like this was Kojima being like, I don't want to make anything too twisty. Everything is kind of like very well telegraphed. You should really pay attention. It's more about executing on the story, and I feel from that perspective is like. In what you lack from surprise when the things actually are revealed, because he does so well at cuts in direction, cinematography, and things like that. It's like even when you know it's coming, it's like, oh, that was beautiful. Like there's so many parts in this game that when you watch it's like that was so beautifully executed. It's just it has a flair to it that we know from Kojima as long-time MGS fans.
Yeah, I mean he's the best cutscene director in the industry, and there's nobody else that's even close. It's not even a competition.
Yeah, then this is him basically whipping his dick out, basically, and kind of be like, I'm the one that knows how to do this because I study film. He really
as much as I do like them, and I do, especially this one. I mean, this one is a marked step improvement over the first one. There is times where I get a little bit annoyed with the stupid naming convention that everything has to be called Bridges and everything has to be called this and that. Like, you know, I don't mind tomorrow and all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff, but it's kind of annoying how the same word is used continually and over again. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
I understand he's doing it to be silly, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
it actually gets kind of old.
Yes,
But
he does it to be silly, but it's also because he's trying to make everything such an analogy for
yeah.
anything. So it's like that's kind of where it gets like you're trying to lay the theme of it all really thick.
No.
So that does I
But
get
the
what you
thing
mean.
is, I mean, I mean, I assume you've played all the main Metal Gears. I mean, I certainly have.
Yeah.
Um, the man is capable of obviously. I mean, he's always done weird stuff with the names of characters, but he's capable of. I don't want to say bad writing because the writing's not bad. The writing is good. He's capable of better than that, right? But better than everything being thumbs up and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. But the game itself is great, and I'm not dogging on the game at all.
Oh yeah.
It's just like it's like that's like okay, if you make a Death Stranding 3, which
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the ending's left open or not, but um let's not do that anymore.
Yeah.
Let's actually like be serious about it and not saying you can't have goofiness, but
Mm-hmm.
let's be a little bit better about it than this, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It's like a and he even got better in two compared to one, where it
Yeah,
was like
one
so.
was actually really obnoxious at times.
Mm-hmm. So
And actually, considering you spend a good bit of one trying to figure out what the hell's going on and understand the universe and stuff,
mm-hmm.
the fact that the same word is used for like 10 different things doesn't help.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean?
I noticed that a lot with because I've been playing that Stranded Director Scott because I was still like in the mood because I was playing Director Scott before too, but because I was traveling and I was with family and all that, I couldn't quite finish my playthrough. I know you did. You finished one for the first time this
I
year.
finished it maybe a week before two came out. Yeah,
Exactly.
I
So
decided to just push through to finish it. And
yeah, and I was glad that you did because that turned your opinion around on that game like pretty handily. I remember you saying you
I
saying
always
like
like Death Stranding.
no, but it's like do you liked it even more for getting to the end, like
Well,
getting to see the
yeah,
end?
I like the ending of it, and I do firmly believe you should not play the second one without having finished the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know they try to say you can. I totally disagree with that. I think
Mm-hmm.
you'll be totally lost if you don't know what's
Yeah.
going on already.
And the recap this game had the second game has
It's
is
terrible. Yeah.
terrible. Absolutely
It
terrible.
more recaps things as you're going through it through that corpus thing, but it's kind of one of those if you weren't there, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. It's just weird words on a page.
Yeah, it's
At least the way I say it.
like I got to test the corpus with my uncle when he was watching me play, as they were like explaining a few of the early terms, and he kind of got it from like a base level of like, okay, I guess this is what's important. This is okay. I can go through. It works as a okay. I think I can kind of work through it, but it's very different when you like internalize what it means, following it up in the sequel.
Mhm. Well,
So.
and I mean that's how Kojima is too. Is
Mhm.
like you know everything has constant references. Like
Mhm.
not long ago when Joe asked us if Metal Gear Solid 3 was a good one to start with, and I was just like, if
Mhm.
anybody tells you yes, you should never talk to that person again,
That was
because
me.
did
Yeah,
you?
I
Well,
did.
I think I changed your mind on it though, didn't I?
Yeah,
Because the
it.
reality is that this is not a case of it's a
Yeah.
prequel that is its own story.
Mhm.
It is a third part of the story that happens to be a prequel. So you
Yeah.
still won't know what's going on, right?
It's like to me like that's I want him to play it specifically to test Konami's theory of why they're
Well,
starting here with the
I want him to get his head out of his ass and actually just play.
one and two.
MGS one is tough to play today. I
Hmm.
understand that,
Yeah.
but go get a GameCube and get Twin Snakes if you have to. Like
Hmm.
that's a perfectly fine version. And play two. And if you try to tell me that Metal Gear Solid 2 is too dated to play now, then you're a fucking idiot. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's
Because
like
it
and
still
just
plays better than most games released today.
yeah,
So,
even with its unique control scheme, it's like it works on that game.
yeah.
It's like so that game is so perfectly tailored for what
Mm,
it's trying to do. And three, to me, kind of like really fulfills mechanics when we got to subsistence when you finally got like the full
mm,
camera. Because I remember the original version Snake Eater when it was the fixed camera, it was tougher to play than two
yeah.
because of the lack of the
Well,
radar
I was
and
actually going to say there's apparently a whole group of Metal Gear
yeah.
fans who don't like subsistence because it made it easier. And I'm like, if you play it a certain way, it's still really goddamn hard. Like
Mhm.
number one, try to
Yeah.
play it without knocking anybody out.
Yeah.
Even on normal, you will have a hard time doing anything without setting off
Yeah.
alarms because it is really really tough that way.
Yeah, but to me, like going back to like that Metal Gear talk, I still want Joe to play it just to see. I kind of want to see how it plays to someone that doesn't really know. Kind of us that we're like in the weeds that we played originally, like MGS one, close to around when it came out. Then we played two, and then we went to three, which was like going back and remembering being like, why are we going back? Why are we not continuing the story of two? and then
I,
seeing like everything in
I
context. Then
I don't want him to play it because I'm a total Metal Gear. I don't say a purist because that's not true, but I'm a complete Metal Gear fanboy, and I think that's completely wasted on anybody who has not at least played 1 and 2.
yeah,
At least play 2. You could probably get a decent recap of the first one. You have to play 2 to have any concept of
I mean,
number
there's a
one.
reason.
Number one, what makes 3 special, and number 2, what the hell's going on in it.
Well, if you remember the HD collection, it was only 2, 3, and Peace Walker originally. So it's like even a lot of people those were the only ones that that they played because MGS1, unless you went to the PS3 classic to play it, it was like
Well, I was about to say it was available on the PlayStation Store at that. Like,
it was
the PS1 version of it.
Yeah, it was like if you were obnoxious that you didn't never wanted to buy anything digitally or anything, like it was until the Master Collection that you could finally get MGS1 officially on like a PS5 disc or something that is like already part of like a collection of something.
Well, yeah, I was about to say there was one other way to do it, but it was a collection. There was I forget what they called it, but on PS3
the Legacy collection.
That was it. Yeah, that was it. It was 1
awesome.
through 4. Yeah, it was 1 through. Yeah, that actually was a hell of a collection, and it had.
I kind of wish I owned them all, but that was it had a cool sleeve. I remember it was like it had a cool gray like a cover for it, and you had basically had everything there, like all. Like I don't even did they have cutscenes of Acid there? I don't remember, but it was at least the main line.
I don't think
stuff.
Acid was in that because Acid's not canonical at all, so I don't think. It was
I think they already like nicked that in the bot. I think because
even Portable Ops was not in it because Portable Ops. I guess Kojima's on record as saying it's canonical when it doesn't break the existing lore, but it's not technically canonical.
Yeah, basically take what Peace Walker says is canon. Like from that one.
Yeah. I mean, anything he made is the canon. It's technically even Revengeance is not technically canon, but since it takes place after, it doesn't actually affect anything. So
exactly, you can make MGS4 be like your end, and it's a perfect ending for that. For that franchise. Still waiting for Master Collection.
I was about to say, what would be a real perfect collection is on the damn PS5.
Yeah, it's like the only one that's still stranded.
Or anything other than PS3, please.
And what sucks is that it used to be in streaming version. That the PS3 streaming version used to be available on PS5, and then when they switched from PS Now to what we have now, they took that out and they never put MGS4 back. So it's like there's no modern way to play MGS4 unless you're like playing the emulator, or if you're playing, or if you had your PS3 hooked up still, which I still do. That's one of like the last bastions of me keeping that thing on before I just punted it or give it a Viking funeral.
Yeah, but, it really is amazing that it's never migrated off of the PS3.
Yeah, it's like I know that. Do you remember back in the day said that when they were looking to trying to port it on 360, it was gonna be like 10 DVDs if they did it because of how uncompressed everything in that game was, that it required install. If you remember, it was like there was installing that needed to happen per act, and you needed to watch like
yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So it's like that was due to the disaster that was the PS3's like the dev kit that they used to make that game, and they didn't know how to like compress anything, so they just had everything just like big, all the big files there. Even though it's not that big of a game, like the digital version is 26 gigs, so it's like
but that was huge in that time. Don't forget, games then were usually somewhere in the 7 to 8 gig.
Or like, 4 or 5.
26 is enormous for that era.
Yeah, it was only late in the PS3 era that you started getting like games about 30 gigs or things like that. Because I remember God of War Ascension was like a 36 gig digital download when they gave it for PS Plus, and I was like, I'll keep it on PS Plus, and I got rid of my disc, and I was like, crap, it's 36 gigs. I don't know how bad the download speeds are on the PS3. But I just want that. But I'm glad I've been like on that Kojima kick right now, because I can't wait now to circle back to MGS3 in a month now, like in less than a month now. It's like we're recording in July 31st, so we're like 27, 28 days away from Delta, and I can't wait to see like how that
26th. So
how that works, because as of right now, like my mind is undecided on what's my favorite Kojima game still, because I was in your camp at 3. MGS3 was was my favorite Kojima game. After I finished Death Stranding 2, immediately my mind was like, oh, this is my favorite Kojima game ever. But that was also because I had a very personal, very raw emotional connection to this game based on when I played it, the emotion that it touched, and how it reflected to my own personal life. That's kind of hard to separate because that's very personal. So I can't wait to let them play Metal Gear Solid 3, which we know it's still the same story, same BOs, everything.
Considering the story's perfect, there's no reason to change it. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like I can't wait to see how I feel going back to that, and also like with the new coat of paint and the new controls. So
yeah, I mean, I obviously have not finished Death Stranding 2, but there's zero chance it's gonna surpass 3 for me. Like there's absolutely no chance whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like to me, it's a very specific, special place, special time of the themes of this game hitting when they did for me. You can go read my article as to why. You're still playing AC Shadows, I see.
Well, specifically because I only put that on there specifically to talk about the nightmare difficulty that they added. Basically, I just want to say this is the way the game is meant to be played. That said, it is very hard. There's no doubt about it. It is very, very hard. Yeah. And I understand some people want to play it the way that our redheaded stepchild, I mean co-host, likes to, where he could be 2 feet off the ground and they don't see him. Yeah. I think that's craziness, but the option's there, so to each his own. I actually would like this. So to be clear, there's a reason why I said it's very hard and it's the way it's meant to be played. It does specifically change certain mechanics of the game in both combat and stealth, which once again you can still set individually. Right?
Let me guess. You die of one hit, and you can be more easy.
No. It's not that bad. Okay. It's not far from it, but it's not that. It's not that bad. No. Well, first of all, so in combat, number one, enemies are significantly more aggressive because they were pretty passive even on expert, and they also would only attack you one at a time. They don't necessarily do that this time. Like they can come at you 2 at a time. Number two, your parry windows are a good bit tighter, and yes, that's the good thing. And it has, I don't know how to put this, kind of a... Okay, let's use Expedition 33 as an example. Remember how Expedition 33, you have your timing window for dodges and then a tighter one for parrying? Yeah. Think of it like that, except it's not dodging and parrying. But you have the actual proper, perfect parry window, and then you have a less proper parry window that is wider. You will take damage if you parry not in the expert window. Not a ton, but you will take some. Yeah. And here's another big one, and some people will like this, some people don't. I actually kind of do. Simply parrying or parrying does. No. Simply parrying or dodging does not put them in whatever it is, stunned mode or whatever they're called. When you read the description, it says the only way to do it is through abilities. That's not entirely true. There is other ways to do it. Like, for example, if you do Naoe's perfect parry and then flip over, that'll do it. But I like that because it actually does make it that, because it's something
you use that mechanic because it's not really like, it's good if you use it, but you can
it's kind of worthless otherwise. Yeah, but it also does give, like, it makes it that now you got to make sure you're using your abilities properly, right? Because if you need to, get a chunk of armor off real fast, like, that's a good way to go about it. Stealth. Now, stealth was pretty tough on expert. It's really tough on this. First of all, they can hear you moving even when you're in crouched mode. I don't know if they can hear you crawling, but they can hear you. Now, they also might not hear you if you're moving very slow in crouched mode, but you can't just walk up to them at full speed and crouch and assassinate them because they'll hear you. Yeah. Additionally, if you are in a bush or whatever, if you are not stationary, they can see you. So it gives you very slight bit of... So, I mean, if you see them coming towards you, you just got to stop, and it still does work, but you can't be moving through bush when they're looking at you.
You know what's so funny? That sounds like Splinter Cell.
It is probably the best pure stealth since Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, because the tiny, you gotta stay still, because anytime they could see, that was in the original Splinter Cells. Like, that's something that... Recently, I was like in the mood. I was like, I'm feeling a stealth game that's more directed right now. Let me put the original, the OG 2002 Splinter Cell on Xbox, which it's still really, like, it looks really great with what they did. It's still 4:3, but it's at 4K resolution. It's still like that game, like those old Ubisoft games. There are still holds up so.
Oh, they're amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like they were so ahead of their time when it came to how they visually design a lot of those games, that they still hold up even just with like the remastered treatment that they got over there in the Xbox. And it's still so good, kind of like the playing around with the shadows and how everything matters, like where you're like stepping, because like any tiny movement,
the glass or whatever. Yeah.
So it was like being reminded and hearing that. It seems that, because I know that Splinter Cell was the closest comparison a lot of people did to the stealth for AC Shadows. Like, is the closest Ubisoft has gotten to replicate what they used to do that they had not done since stealth became so Far Cry for them.
The best thing I can say is that was a pretty good comparison there. Prior to this, even expert mode, I would say was almost like your Far Cry style stealth. Not to say it's bad, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's not as good as like a Metal Gear, right?
Yeah.
This is excellent stealth now. It really, really. I mean, it was good before. It is excellent now.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked on like the Reddit, which I mean, to be fair, this has proven to be a pretty popular entry. Twitter
Mm-hmm.
would not indicate that, but the
Mm-hmm.
reality is people do seem to like it.
Yeah, it just feels like once the conversation got away from the grifters of like, what is it a success or not?
Right.
I feel people just let this game be, and they kind of
Yeah.
moved on to something else.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, they
why,
realized they realized they were losing the battle despite trying to change history. But
pretty much. And they announced the
well, yeah,
5 million
I didn't
players.
mean that. I didn't mean that literally, but that does work here.
I
Um,
know. And
but either way, I had looked into Reddit to see what
mhm,
people were saying, and I did see a lot of people that said like, "Hey, I wanted to like this, but it didn't do it for me, even on expert." But
mhm,
they have said like, "Nightmare, this is the way I want this game." And again, it's not easy. It is very hard. I'm not saying everybody should play it this way, but
mhm,
I think it's easily the best mechanical part. Like what I was gonna say is I wish they would let you. So remember how in Valhalla you could
mhm.
specifically break individual components of the combat and
Yeah,
individual. You can't do that here, right? You can still only do combat one difficulty and stealth one. I wish I could go in and be like, okay, I want combat to be like it's on uh,
the
expert,
hardest. Mhm,
but I want the different features of how it works in Nightmare to work that way. So just that I don't die as fast, right?
mhm.
Because it is hard. Getting in a battle with like two guys can be tough. Like so I was about to say also, this really emphasizes how with Naue you want to avoid open combat
Yeah,
because it's obviously easier with
Sasuke.
Yasuke. It
Mhm,
is still not easy with him. Make no mistake, he still
mhm,
dies fairly quickly now. Oh, and another thing about it, I know I keep getting side
mhm.
rigged
No worries.
here. Um, they said this in the notes before it came out, and they're definitely right. This is the first time now in this game where I feel it is important that you keep your equipment level on pace with where you are, because if you
Mhm.
don't, before you know it, you're dying,
Yeah.
in two hits.
Mhm.
So it actually made it a far 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 better RPG. And now you won't like this part, but I didn't mind it. In Nightmare mode, you cannot turn on guaranteed assassinations. It is
Mhm.
off.
Yeah. But
Now that's it. I played the entire game with it off anyway, so it really
and
hasn't bothered
and
me.
the thing is that eventually, like through the upgrades, you get to the guaranteed assassination like
Right,
window, but it's just
right,
like very very high in the upgrade
right.
tree. So
And then yeah, now actually, I don't know if you saw, but they also had another update this week that raised the level cap, added
mhm.
added new
New Game
game plus,
Plus.
and it specifically added two new knowledge ranks. I do not know if that means they added new abilities because it's 9 and 10 now. They actually
Yeah,
increased it.
I do wonder if they're in preparation of the DLC that they announced that is coming in like a month and a
Could be,
half.
but well, it's also because of the raised level cap and the new game plus. That's a
Yeah.
major reason why they did it.
When Valhalla did the Druids expand the first expansion, they added new abilities there.
Mm,
So maybe that's what they did. It's kind of like a
mm,
let and how they've been like updating this game, especially with the parkour improvements they've been doing, where it was like you knew that they were coming, but then they enabled a few things early on that people caught
mm,
and be like, "Hey, this wasn't in the game." Be like, "Yeah, we kind of enabled it just to see people if it was working before fully announcing." So maybe it has.
mm,
That's kind of how they're like building it, kind of like block by block instead of just
mm.
dropping everything at once. So that's how
Yeah, see,
I see it.
when I look at the knowledge tree, I guess is what you would call it, I still see it capped at like 6, but I know it goes to 8 beyond that. So I don't know if when I would get higher knowledge ranks, if it would show me the higher. I don't know. I don't know if they add new trees, but I think they do. It might all be passives. I don't know if they're adding new actual abilities. I have no
Hmm.
idea. But they did add two new things. Specifically, actually, a couple knowledge ranks are unlocked, or maybe not knowledge ranks, knowledge points you get through the third uh, non-live service but live service thing, the Animus thing.
Hmm.
That's actually a couple of the tiers in that. I don't know if it's a full rank or if it's simply 1 point to unlock however many you got to unlock there. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell because I'm
Hmm.
still technically going through the first one. So
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. I'm
yeah,
still so burnt out on Shadows after that review. Like it's still like something
yeah, I
that
get it.
yeah, it's
I
like
get it.
because like I'm kind of jealous of how you've been able to like just play how many months since it came out now? April, May, June, July. Like you're taking your leisure pace
Three,
with it.
about three. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
me,
yeah, and specifically, I stopped for a while waiting for like when they had announced the what do you
The
call it?
improvements.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I like this a lot, but I want to play it where it has all the you know changes and all that stuff. So I did put it on hold for like a solid month to wait for them, and
Hmm.
then I kind of got back to it. And not this update, but the previous one is when I really started to kind of get back into it a lot. And
Yeah, I am because I think I'm still on schedule to review Ghost of Yota, even though we're not gonna get that early. But that's one that if someone's gonna review it over at SG, that will be me.
mhm.
For Shadows, I did the thing where I finished Rise of the Ronin and did the DLC for Ghost of Tsushima as a kind of like, I want to see all these ninja open world games kind of like next to each other and kind of like see the which one's better than the other and what is like. I might do that with Shadows when Jote comes out and use that as my opportunity to kind of like reinstall and check in on everything. At that point, the expansion might be there. So that's kind of like where I aim.
Yeah, actually, the expansion will be out before then.
Yeah,
It's
so
September
September.
10th, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
about a month
September
before.
10th to 19th is kind of like a bloodbath right now. It feels like everyone's wanting to get
Honestly,
that.
pretty much the day Metal Gear comes out and then on is just an absolute massacre right now. There is stuff every week after that
Dude,
point.
I'm looking at the list right now where I Game Informer just in September. It's like Jesus Christ,
Like,
that's gonna be
yeah, I
bankruptcy
mean,
month.
late August and all of September is just an absolute avalanche.
Yeah, so eventually I get back to Shadows, but hey, I'm glad that you're enjoying the new. Like, glad to see the improvements are actual improvements. It's like it's not
Yeah,
a,
yeah,
it's actually step forwards and not step backs.
yeah. No, they've done a good job, and they're also, I think it's this month. They have another update where they're going to add another
Mhm,
free mission. I don't know if it's going to deal with the Jesuits again or not, but
mhm.
you know, and then again, then the following month is
Expansion.
Claws of Awaji, which adds a
Mhm.
new weapon for Naue. A bow staff will be pretty cool, I think.
Hell yeah. Okay, I think
Yeah,
that might get me back in earlier.
that's a cool addition, no doubt about it.
Yeah, because she's wanting for weapons compared to like Josuke that has
Yeah,
everything.
I still I don't think they're gonna do it, but in her case, not so much his, but in her case, I do wish you had access to all three weapons at all times.
Yeah, because
I kind of think it was a mistake to make you have to choose for her. With him, I get it because it does really change the way you play him.
mhm.
With her, you kind of cripple yourself if you don't have the
Especially
Tonto.
because of how they tie specific stealth moves to specific
Exactly, that's
weapons.
exactly what
So
it is.
that's
At the
why.
very least, I wish they would make it that her assassination moves can be used regardless of what secondary weapons you
That
have.
sounds like an improvement that they could eventually maybe like figure out
Yeah.
because that kind of sucked to be like, I kind of want to do the double assassination, but you need to have the two Tantos. I kind of love the.
And I don't like the Tanto at all. I think it's the worst of the three weapons. But you're right. Like you almost have to have it because of the
Yeah,
double
but
assassination.
if you enter combat, you're fucked.
Yeah, it's
So,
useless in combat.
so, but yeah, can't wait to hear more from Shadows. I mean, Shadows is a live service for them, so it's like this is part for the course. We're gonna keep hearing from Shadows. At least I'm hearing it from you and not from our other insufferable, like redheaded stepchild. Oh,
Yeah, I
no.
mean, I mean, he played a lot more of it than me, so I can't.
Yes, I mean he
You know, he
platinumed
was,
it, so.
yeah, right.
So.
But no, I'm a total Shadows defender. It has some issues, no doubt about it. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I really do think that it's. I don't want to say it hasn't gotten a fair share because it's obviously done well, but it's a much better game than the discussion around it would indicate. And you know, obviously you mentioned about Yote. Obviously, it's being heavily compared to that. Now, I have not played Yote, so I can't compare that. But I did recently, just for sake of argument, load up Tsushima. And I mean, there's no question which game has the better stealth. It's not even close.
Yeah,
Shadow's
yeah,
stealth
Shadows
is a
yeah.
thousand times better. I will say the combat in Tsushima is slightly better, I think.
It's more what you want out of a samurai game.
Exactly. And I would say it's a larger gap if it wasn't for the fact that it's only one weapon type, right? Since you basically have the katana or the bow. But the actual katana combat, yes, that definitely feels better in Tsushima. But I actually think Shadow's combat is a lot better than it's given credit for. I really do.
Yeah, it's a combat that grew on me because I hated it at first, especially because and then eventually I'm like, oh, okay, I'm seeing now, especially because remember I was like the completionist kicked in way too early for me, and I didn't unlock so much, and I was like, this world is empty, this combat's like so simple, I hate it, and then I was like, when I started mailing, I was like.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of depth to it. You just gotta. It's just not as simple as you think it is.
And even
you gotta learn when to do which moves, with which characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, like Jack. I don't know if you have it already with Yasuke, but he has a riposte that
yes,
it's so satisfying.
Yep.
That and it's very technical because like it's not in the parry. You have to keep holding the block and then release it right when you're getting
right.
hit, and when it executes, it's so satisfying.
And you can't be trying to counterattack. It has to be your counterattack move basically.
Yeah,
Which now again, actually, that's another thing is that's an important move playing on nightmare difficulty.
I
Less
can
so on the
imagine.
lower difficulties
Hmm.
because he's almost overpowered on the lesser ones. On nightmare, again, on nightmare, it's not easy with him, right? But he is clearly the superior combatant
Yeah.
in open combat. So that it's just part of why I really do like this new
Hmm.
difficulty. I
Yeah.
think they did a really good job with it.
Yeah, I checked the Metacritic just to see kind of where it ended up all the same, and both in
I'd guess
OpenCritic
around an 8. I guess around an
81,
8.
81,
81. Yeah, that's about yeah.
and I scored it an 8, so I still
Mhm.
feel that way. My burnt out on it made me want to say 7.5, but just kind of like in that disgust of playing that long game in 11 days instead of like savoring it like I should have.
Mhm.
But
I will say, and obviously nobody is re-reviewing it since these
mhm,
updates for sure.
yeah.
It's a pretty easy 8.5 as of now. Like
Like what
it's
happened
not
with
as big
Outlaws.
of a. I was about to say it's not as big of a jump as Outlaws, where Outlaws almost became the game it should have been,
Yeah.
whereas this was the game it should have been, but it's gotten to be better since that
Oh
point.
yes, it had a better baseline. It worked.
Right, right,
It was like
right,
it wasn't undercooked. It had
right.
annoying design decisions. The
Mm,
split is still one that I still 100% don't agree with.
mm,
Just in the idea that it sucks that one character won't access the entire map basically compared to the
right,
other one that basically does. That's still
right.
something that I feel like something to really think about for the next time they try to do a double protagonist. But it still worked. I still enjoy the story. I still stand that how that story ended was what elevated for me because it got to things that I like out of that series. But it's still like I know a lot of people are like it kind of sucks that I waited until the very end. I'm like it got there and this is a live service so they can kind of keep building from
Well, and I obviously cannot comment on that. So
yeah.
to tell you where I am, because
It's
I mean,
hard because it's so wide open. Like how you're approaching it. So.
yeah, well, that's true. Yes, I have specifically not gone after any. Like I've done a couple of the missions for targets, but I have not gone after any targets
Mm-hmm.
since the initial 3. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then like 2 or 3 more you can go.
Yeah, you
for
still
it.
have a lot of the
Right.
Shinbankufu like circle
Correct.
there.
But in terms of I guess you would count the main story as going for those targets as well as each one of their personal quests. So Yasuke is, as of this point, I caught up on his. I don't have anything for Yasuke.
Mm-hmm.
For her, I am doing them, and I just went to the Kofun that Hanza told me to go to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Without
remember that one.
without being any spoilers,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did. Unfortunately, that being said, I think I accidentally saw a spoiler for. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but potentially who the leader of the Shinbaku is,
Mm.
because I was trying to look up to see if like I heard a name. I'm like, that name sounds familiar. Who is that? And I looked it up, and I thought it said something like, "Should you forgive blood?" I was like,
Yeah,
"Motherfucker."
I think you probably screw yourself.
I think I did. Yes.
Because
And I was like, that actually. I mean, obviously, I haven't played far enough to know, but I was like, that's actually a pretty interesting twist because I probably would not have guessed that.
Mhm.
Maybe I would. Maybe I would have guessed it further.
yeah, especially
in.
because they dealt with the Nobunaga of it all like very early.
Right,
When
right.
I remember prior to like the game coming out and us talking about it, we're thinking that it's obviously gonna be Nobunaga's gonna be like the big guy because
Right,
it aligns with
right,
history.
right.
That's kind of why you have and it kind of also aligned with history. It's just that they align very early.
The-
It happens
I
very early.
actually
in this-
I liked how it faked you out too.
Uh-huh.
How it had him as the leader, and then it's like, oh, he's really not.
Mhm.
And what's kind of funny is I was like, man, I actually knew that Mitsuhide Akechi was the one that betrayed him, and I completely forgot.
Yeah,
And so I was like, why does this name sound familiar? And it
because
turns
he's also,
out,
I think he's also in Onimusha. It's
well,
like
he is not.
He's not?
Seminosuke is supposed to be his nephew. That's why.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Seminosuke Akechi is his nephew.
Yeah.
Now, Seminosuke obviously is not a real character, whereas Mitsuhide was.
Oh yeah. But enough of shadows, Rick. Time to talk Bonanza because I don't think you and I
Oh,
have gotten.
banana.
Yeah, we have not been gotten to talk yet. I had started playing it last week when I recorded with Joe. And how far are you in? And after a bit of a technical hiccup, Bonanza, Rick. So it's been a week, 2 weeks. I forgot how long ago it was. That
3,
this
I
game
think,
came out.
actually.
Yeah, because it came out on the 18th. How long have you played it? How deep are you in? And like how many layers? What's the number of your layer that you're in?
No, not deep enough. I'm only on the second area. Was it Hilltop or whatever?
Okay, I'm on the third one then. Yeah.
Okay, yes, you're not a whole lot further than me then. I'm on like the second part of the second layer, so like what is it, 202 sublayer,
Mm-hmm.
however they did the
Yeah, I'm on
numbering.
302. That's why
Okay.
that's what it says for mine. So
Yeah, no, this game's great. This is I fully stand by what I was saying before, which is that this should have been the launch title because it really
mhm.
would have been it would have been a pretty banging launch title for the
Or
Switch. I mean, it's
launch them
close enough,
together,
but
or launch both this and Mario Kart together.
you can keep
Have these two
you
be
can
the
keep
options.
Mario Kart. You can keep
Yeah,
Mario Kart.
like if you needed to launch Mario Kart, because of course I know the business reality of why they
Right,
wanted to release Mario Kart,
right.
but having this one also next to it, kind of like Mario 64 Pilot Wing style, when they launch with two games instead of having to stagger them in a month. I think it would have been better because this definitely felt like me finally getting a Switch 2 game,
Mm,
like for my
mm,
Switch 2 that I was just using to play the improved versions of Switch 1 games in the first month.
mm,
I enjoy Bonanza a lot because I love the craziness of a game like this working with this amount of destruction while still like maintaining a semblance of level design, because I feel it's
mm.
very easy for a game where you can literally do everything for you to kind of like overstep any design intent. And I feel like so far with what I played, only the first world is the one that gave me pause original. I was like, there's too much destruction here. Is there like intent here? And then as soon as you
Yeah,
start,
I agree with that. Yeah,
yeah,
at first.
yeah, and then as soon as when you start going and you start seeing, you get to the world of the treehouse, like that light blue, light
Yeah,
sky blue, and all that.
yeah.
That's when you start seeing it's like, okay, no, there is design intent, and
Mm,
they're able to make it work. And I feel it keeps getting better and better. My thing with Bonanza right now is that I feel like right now I'm not in the mood for it, because after I play for a little bit, I just go back to something more dire. I don't know why.
yeah.
I don't know
Well,
why. It's
well,
just like a.
my thing more than anything, I didn't like. Actually, I picked it up yesterday for the first time in probably a week and a half, maybe.
Mhm. Same.
Um, I had not played it out of not wanting to or
Hmm.
by any decision. I simply was more playing the other games.
Hmm.
The Assassin's Creed, the Death Stranding, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
But no, I am very happy with this. I've said before, I know it's not a popular opinion, but I think this is a way better game than Mario Odyssey.
It feels more
I
unique because Mario
it,
Odyssey, it's
yeah,
like the
Mario
same
Odyssey was just
right.
kind of by the books to me. I
Mhm.
didn't think it was that impressive.
Yeah, it's a very by the numbers game that gets impressive after you finish it with how much there is like in the
Mm.
end game of it. And that
Yeah,
to me is
I did
like,
know that, but
yeah, it's just like it's different when it's like I feel like Mario games tend to be awesome from the start, and I don't like my Mario games to start after they finish. That's just
right.
a, so that was always a hang up. But I did try Odyssey again this year because that was always like my least favorite of the when I think of 3D Mario, but specifically because I just loved 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy so much, at least because I played them in formative years. So it's like those memories are so tight that then when you play a newer version of a franchise while still you hold nostalgia for the older ones, it's kind of hard to kind of get there. It wasn't until playing it in front of my mom that I really appreciated Odyssey, because it's like I saw how it was charming her, and in a way that I was like really didn't appreciate when I first played it. So I like Odyssey more, but it's still not my favorite of the 3D Mario games. And Bonanza they released with this like just see the blood of Odyssey. It's all over this game, from its UI,
Mm,
its visual style, even the way the conversations flow with like the little animals that you speak to.
mm.
The sometimes minimalist music that happens when you're kind of like exploring before things kind of kick in. That's very Odyssey too. It's just I feel it's a more impressive game when you see that it's both a platformer and a Minecraft destructor, Red Faction guerrilla style, like a punch everything, and it all works. And I feel that's kind of like was really impressive. And I do love the side scroller levels that you get that are like a
Yeah, I
prestige
actually
or
I did do one for the first time
yeah,
yesterday.
you did the one
It's basically the first level
the
of
first level
Donkey
of
Kong
country.
Country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Um.
like hearing the modern version of the David
Mm,
Wise Donkey
mm.
DK music is chef kiss. And I love that the first banana you get from that level, like if you do the thing where you grab the rock and then you use it to kind of jump up.
I actually have I was playing it yesterday. That's when I
Uh,
did it. I actually have not found the first one yet. I'm like, where the hell is it?
yeah, it's like a,
I got the second and third. I have not got the first one
yeah, the
yet.
first one is literally at the beginning of of that level, and it's where at the beginning of the first level of Donkey Kong Country, when you go back to your house and you get
Right,
like a
right.
life, that's where the banana is. So
But going back that way goes out the portal, doesn't it? That's why I didn't do that.
yeah, you have to grab the rock, jump high, so you can then climb up the thing.
Oh,
So
I didn't really. Okay, that makes sense.
yes.
Because I had thought of that. I'm like, well, in Donkey Kong Country, the
Mhm.
first stuff is towards
To the
towards the
left.
beginning. Well,
So,
I'm like, there's a portal there, so I can't really go that way. Okay, that makes
exactly.
sense. I'll have to do that.
Yeah, it's hidden for the people that know, and I kind of like
Yeah,
that. That it's like if you know your
yeah.
Donkey
No,
Kong
I like that
country.
too. I like that too.
Yeah,
I just didn't think about jumping over the portal.
yeah, and
Um,
I loved how it feels like a celebration of many eras of Donkey Kong, even though this Donkey Kong is like such a it feels so new, but also a throwback to OG, like Jumpman, Donkey Kong from like the NES. The
uh, actually, ColecoVision, that goes further back than that.
yeah, it's
Uh, Something that actually I have said is I always find, well, I shouldn't say always, almost always find Nintendo's little cutesiness to be absolutely mind-bogglingly frustratingly annoying.
mm,
It works here. Like this game does not annoy me. Like when I see the little boops and bops and all that shit in Odyssey, it drives me
uh,
nuts. It doesn't bother me at all in this.
it
It
feels this
works.
game is like in the joke. It feels like this game is in on the joke almost.
Yes,
So and
like I don't know what it is. I find Pauline to be like unbelievably cute and like not attractive
the
cute.
end. No, I know, yeah, but the
To be
animation,
clear
yeah,
here,
yeah.
yes, like she is adorable and like the way that when it zooms in on her face, she's got all the freckles and like
Mm-hmm.
just the really overly animated face. I'm like, this works so much better than it does in their other stuff. Like when they tried in Zelda, for example, it falls completely short because it just doesn't work
Mm-hmm.
with Zelda's
Silent
aesthetic,
protagonist. Yeah.
aesthetic, and all that stuff, right? Here it does because you're playing as a freaking gorilla with a tie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's ridiculous by its very nature, um, and like her singing to give you the Bonanza stuff, like that's awesome. That's such a good idea,
The
and it
introduction of them
works.
singing at the
It's
first
amazing.
time, it was so
It's
funny.
amazing.
It like how they animated it, like with the
That yeah, with her
with the
being
mascots.
scared and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
sir.
like I won't lie, almost every day since I played it for the first time, I've actually gone on YouTube and at least one time listened to the Kong Bonanza song, which
Hmm.
is I don't know if it's the same song for I don't think it is for all of the other ones, but it's the one that you get for obviously the monkey
Yeah.
Bonanza. I don't know what else you'd call
Yeah.
it. Because it's so unbelievably catchy, and like the one that I watch, I guess there's a thing with the Splatoon community where they'll make up lyrics for the
Hmm.
music. I didn't know that was a thing, but they did that with this because you can't really understand what she's saying. Um, but it cuts together different like cutscenes from the first time that you do it, right? And
Hmm.
I actually watch it because it has part of that charm, which is her like doing all her crazy little dancing and getting into it on the stage, and then
Hmm.
Donkey Kong doing his goofy little thing, and then the best part is that stupid ass Kong Elder
Yes.
bouncing around in his chair and
Yes.
like just wigging into it. It's like every time Nintendo tries to do this, to me, it falls flat and it's annoying. It nails it in this game. I don't know what it is. It's probably what you said. It's probably that it doesn't take itself seriously, whereas some of their other stuff maybe does try to a little bit. But
It's
it
like
just
it takes
works.
its cuteness seriously. You're supposed to kind of take the cuteness as it is, and I feel that works more if you're younger. And the older you get, that kind of like sometimes hits. I see it with my mom, sometimes it doesn't. I see it with you, and I also do wonder: is it also because when's the last time we got a 3D Donkey Kong game? 20 plus years. It
Yeah, well,
feels fresher. It feels fresher seeing it. This even though there's such a prestige of Mario all over this game too, but it's just the fact that it's Donkey Kong. Maybe that helps too because it feels like you have not played a Donkey Kong game like this in this style in like forever.
I
Like,
mean, I didn't really even like 64. So,
I know it's not popular. Yeah.
but I've always loved the 2D ones, like
Hmm.
the 2D Donkey Kong countries, I should
Oh
say.
yes,
Um,
amazing games. So
but this one, I was like, hey, when they first announced, it, I'm like, okay, I hope this is good. Then they had that direct right before the
hmm
Switch came out, like the deep dive on this.
yes,
And at first, I was like, man, why are they doing a deep dive on this? But then I was like, oh, there's actually more to this game than I realized. And I was like, yeah, this looks really good. And then it came out, I'm like, this actually is even better than I thought it would be.
hmm
And I thought it would be good. So like that does speak volumes as to
yeah,
how good I think this game
yeah. I
actually
feel
is.
like even though like my mood doesn't make me play it often, every time that I play it feels like I'm releasing like stress, and I'm releasing. It's kind of like
It's also good comfort food, if you
yes,
will. Because
yes,
if you're in a bad mood and don't want to play something that's pissing you off or stressing you off, it's there, and you
yeah.
know you're gonna have fun when you pick it up and play it.
Hmm.
I would say as of this point, I probably put it at my. This sounds low, but it's actually quite. It's actually not. I probably put it at number 4 for me in terms
Yeah,
of
and your
for
favorite
this
games of
year.
this year. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Now I'm sure probably in a, I probably won't count Delta
Hmm.
in the list because that is just a remake, but I'm gonna guess by the end of the year it probably will get bumped out of the top 5.
Hmm.
But the fact that I'm even considering it in this actually is pretty good because there have been a lot of games that I've really liked so far this year.
Yeah, and me right now still KCD2 is still my big blind spot. I still
Yeah,
haven't played much.
it's pretty easily my number one. I had said for a while Death Stranding 2 was competing with it. I think Death Stranding is probably number 2 for me.
Mhm.
And the number 3 is actually Shadows. I acknowledge I like that a lot more than a lot of people do, but no, this is excellent. Like this really is. I think the 10s are a little out of control, but I think it's an easy 9. I
Yeah.
do think it's a 9.
It being a 91 sounds right for me. It's not like
Oh,
a
is that
90,
what it's sitting at? Yeah, that's
yes,
fair.
it's not
That's
a
fair.
97 like Odyssey, which I feel it's preposterous.
Way too high. That's way too
Yes,
high.
yeah. Like I would have accepted a low 9 for that, or maybe like an 88 or an 89, but a 97 for
I think
Odyssey
it's
is
more.
too
I
high.
think it's more
Yeah.
like a high 8, but I could understand a 9.
Mhm.
I think high 9 is insanity for Odyssey.
Yeah. I would have taken the 92 that Wonder got for that one. And even then, like for me,
Actually, I thought
like,
Wonder was better than Odyssey. To
oh
be
yeah,
honest with
exactly. Like if a score should have been the one, it would have been like
Yeah.
92 that
Yeah.
Wonder got. It would have felt more right. But yeah,
Yeah.
excellent stuff. I'm glad that it's there. Like it's gonna be the big first party Nintendo game that holds me for a good while because we're still kind of waiting on
Well,
more.
we do have Metroid coming this year. I always forget about that. But
Yes.
Metroid is coming this year, and that'll probably be that will probably surpass Donkey Kong.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. That because the Metroid Prime is so good. It's just
I love Metroid
I'm
Prime.
trying to think of. We have an idea one of this be because they basically laid out this first party year at the at that direct, and it's like one of the later ones still has a nebulous winter window, which frustrated me because I thought today would have been like a they'd be like, okay, just put a date so we can kind of get an idea because you still had that Pokemon game, you got the Air Riders Kirby game.
I actually
later.
did not realize until you were talking about. I did not realize that was a separate game. I thought it was an add-on for the Calamity Warriors.
Yeah, it was a
it's called.
separate. Yeah, it was a standalone game. So Age of Imprisonment, and we'll talk about that in the direct recap. But really enjoying Bonanza. I'm kind of like with the lack of stuff to play on the Switch too. I'm kind of like also I had this thing that also happened with me with the Switch when I knew that it was just a first party machine for me. Be like I kind of want to really savor this game, so I don't want to just finish them because it's like then this machine is just gonna go unused for a while. So I'm okay slow walking it.
I have 3 games for the Switch too, 5 if you count Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. One I still have not played. I bought Bravely Default. I think it's the first one. Which I was like, hell yeah, I was one that I still haven't played it. But I will say, I don't think I mentioned this when we were talking about it. I actually got Cyberpunk, and
yeah, we'll talk about it. That you got the Switch version.
Yeah. I was gonna say, while in no way is it the definitive way to play it,
it's an impressive way.
It is a surprisingly competent.
I have it too. I have it.
It's okay. You do have it. Yeah, it's not a good way to play it in terms of docked. If you're gonna play it handheld, that is actually a very, very good way to play it.
Yeah, especially like at the 40 at the
40 frames. That's just what it is. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like it just looks so good. It just looks so good in the handle. It's like I can't believe this is real. Especially like me, I've seen that game at its worst, and I've seen it at its best because I played the base PS4 version of that game.
Oh, so, man.
Yeah, it was.
I played the PS4 version. I'm sorry, I played the Xbox One version on the Series X.
But, which was the best way to play that game.
I did not play and then I've played it on PC, which is the undeniably best way to play it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Still, even with like all the additions to Nvidia that they're doing still to this day, like
since whatever damn reason they won't make a pro patch, but that's probably good. It prevents me from having to buy my fucking like 5th version of it, so that's probably
basically
good.
Like they did like a half step of including the VRR mode, so you can kind of like unlock that frame rate, and because of the higher internals of the Pro, it automatically gives you more frame rates than everyone else. So
it's just a bummer, like because where I would have bought it is if it had 60 and even some level of ray tracing, which you don't get that obviously.
Yeah. But it's still like about Bonanza pretty good. I can't wait to keep playing more. And let's see like if one day I then go, I just want to devour this. I think what helps because what I love about Nintendo games that are not narrative based is that you can kind of just take them as it's like you don't have that fear of spoilers. So that's why I feel like I can more.
Well, and also if you stop for a while, it's not like, man, I don't remember what's going on. Like it doesn't matter. You know, they like with the exception of Zelda, they intentionally always have pretty simple gameplay mechanics, so Zelda, you don't have to worry about coming back and forgetting how to do things.
Zelda and Metroid are Nintendo's worst series to drop and then just come back because then you're like, where was
Metroid? Very much so.
Yes, that happened to me.
Metroid, you easily forget where you are in Metroid.
Yeah, that happened to me with Prime 3 back in 2007. I took a break, went back. I was like, I have zero idea what I'm supposed to be here. I'm out.
And by that point, you probably had all kind of abilities you didn't remember how to use and all that kind of stuff. No, but Metroid is very bad for it. No doubt about it.
Yeah, whenever you play a Zelda or a Metroid, especially old school Zelda, like the newer ones are still like there's so much freedom in them, and like the objectives are so generalized. I feel you can kind of pick them up back up, no problem. But a
With,
Metroid is very specific. Like if you play one, finish it.
with the new Zeldas, I more was referring to forgetting how to do certain things that you maybe discovered when you were playing it, like mechanics wise.
Yeah,
not so much story progression, because that's pretty simple.
Yeah, the older Zeldas were harder, like to keep up the story progression. You just stopped cold. So I think you play this one, Rick. You didn't list it here. Ready or Not? I think you were playing it.
I have it on PC. Yeah. So actually, I didn't put it because I've actually had it for a while. So I know some people just got it recently, but I've had it for a little while.
Yeah, I'll briefly mention it because Paul coerced me to buy it, because me and Paul have this split arrangement. That's how we get our games. He really wanted to play this, especially after you had that conversation with him in our chat. And I split it with him. I got to play on Tuesday. No, Monday. I played with him Monday. We played 2 levels. The one at the gas station and the one where you have to bust the streamer, basically. And
Milky Toes. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, like, as someone that loves old school Rainbow Six, even though this game can be really janky, I'm so glad someone made this kind of game, because like, you forget that a PvE centric, like co-op based, like, let's be tactical, like, it's not about just running and gunning and slide jumping and things like that. There's like, you could feel the weight of clearing an enemy map.
It's like, intentionally methodical and slow. Yes.
Yeah. And obviously Rainbow Six Siege in a multiplayer sense could reach these kind of things. It's just that Siege also added so many million mechanics and like the different operators with different kind of like abilities and all that I feel that kind of got lost, even though that game's still pretty popular. People like it. I know Rainbow Six Siege X was fairly well liked, the update they did, even though it also didn't like set the world on fire for Ubisoft based on like the recent financials. It's a 10-year-old game. Like, eventually one of those, like,
it's gonna die eventually.
It's gonna die eventually, despite that. But it's like, we haven't scratched that itch in forever. So I feel like at least Ready or Not scratch that itch in the 30 minutes or so I play with Paul. And we bought the $20 DLC, the one that comes with
the deluxe edition.
The 6 extra levels. So one time this week,
and it's 3 more that are not out yet. Actually, it includes an extra expansion that hasn't come out yet.
Awesome, that's even better. Then we're already bought in.
So I think I said 3 more. I think it's 2 more.
Yeah.
No, it is 3. It is 3. I'm sorry, it is 3 more.
Yeah, but it's like, it already has like, do you know how many levels come like on base package?
I believe it's 26 plus you got 6 more, then you'll have 3 more from there.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good for a non-PvP centric shooter, like in this day and age that we're in Fortnite skin plusing era.
They are a little short when you compare them to you mentioned Rainbow Six. If you compare it to like not Rainbow Six Siege, but older Rainbow Six, they're short when you compare them to those, but
they remind me of Terrorist Hunt a little bit. There's like the length of a terrorist hunt mission of like a Rainbow Six Vegas. Like, I literally, before Paul, like, we bought it, I popped in Rainbow Six Vegas, the 360 version. I popped in on Xbox and just
Vegas is amazing.
I love Vegas so much, especially the first one. Second one, not as much, because it's not as, the visuals are not as poppy as
the fact that the whole thing's in the day was a weird decision. like most of the first one's at night, so you actually get the Vegas visual experience. But yeah, no, this is a pretty cool game. Actually, last weekend I finally got to play it multiplayer.
I saw you were with Clint and other two, like, because I saw you were at the Discord.
With Clint Baden from our group, the Bloodborne.
The Souls guy, the Souls guy, yeah.
And my friend Nate. The 4 of us played it. It's actually 5, so we actually had room for one more, but we didn't.
And that to me is awesome. Like, it's awesome that it's now more wild. I think there's crossplay, right, between all systems.
There is. Yeah, you just link your Epic Game Store. Or Epic Games account, whatever it is.
Yeah, it works well on the. I played it on the Pro. Looks good. It has some low quality.
It has some very muddy textures. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I actually did also get it on Xbox just to try it, and I was like, I'm glad I have it here. I was like, well, I'm definitely playing it on PC. No doubt about it.
Definitely seems like a PC game.
Now that said, I will say some of those textures aren't great on PC, but they're not nearly as muddy as they are on console for sure.
And there's a certain clayness to some faces in that, and that can be like
and they tend to look very similar. Did you notice that? Like if your different like squad mates, like there's like 2 or 3 presets, and they're all like minor variations of those presets.
100%. But I'll take jank for getting
Yeah,
this
no,
kind of game, because Ubisoft's not gonna give us a traditional Rainbow Six ever again, because there's like
they are giving us the more traditional Ghost Recon though.
yes, at least we're getting it there after they
And
canceled
actually,
Stupid Battle Royale.
I will take that because
Mhm.
the reality is there's not very many games. Well, there's not really many games like any of it, but there's really not many games like Ghost Recon out there.
Mhm.
So, I saw some people being like, "Who asked for a first-person Ghost Recon?" I'm like, everybody that played Ghost Recon before Wildlands.
Yes, and
Everybody.
for people remember, there was a first
Yes.
person that you didn't even see
Yeah.
the gun. Remember, it was a first
Yeah.
person game without even seeing the gun. It was
Yep.
just a
That's
reticle.
how Rainbow Six 1 and 2 were as well.
Yeah, Rainbow Six you could see the gun. It was
No,
Ghost
Rainbow Six 3 was the first one where you could.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And the PS1 one, that's horrible. You could see the gun too.
Oh, really?
Yes,
You got on the PC. On the
yes.
PC, it was just the reticule.
Yeah, and the Sum of All Fears, that horrible like adaptation of the Tom Clancy movie, that was also kind of like
I don't even know that one.
yeah, it's like it also had just a radical. I remember. It's
Yeah,
because it was all about
that's how Ghost Recon was originally too. You're right.
because it was all about like the tactician of you feeling like you're seeing the thing, and then it just became like a shooter, and then it went to third person with Ghost Recon 2 on Xbox.
Mm-hmm. And then actually, so on that note, here's a fun little thing. I mentioned this to Clinton. He did not know this. So, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, which was the one on 360, and then
yeah, the launch era,
correct. Actually, the first one must have launch title for 360.
Yes.
That game was amazing. The second one was disappointing. The first one was great. Did you know that those two games were on PC and they were very different than they were on the console?
Yeah,
because they were first person and they were tactical. They were, again, I'm not shit talking Advanced Recon, because Advanced Recon or Advanced Warfighter rather was awesome, but it was a totally different game on PC. It was like the old styles.
Yes, and what's funny is that I played the first Advanced Warfare Fighter that I played was the Xbox version, like OG Xbox, and it was first person. And then when I got the and it wasn't very good. It was it looked ugly. It was like it felt very unfinished. There was like there was something wrong about it. You could play it. It's like there's something missing here. And then I got my 360, downloaded the demo of Advanced Warfighter, and it was a night and day. And that one was in third person. I was like, holy crap! It's like these games are different. It's like
I love that game on 360, man. That game was amazing.
Yeah,
I was so disappointed in 2 because I was so excited for it, and it was just not a very good follow up at all.
Yeah, they crapped it out really quickly because it came out the year after, and it was short.
They crapped it out very quickly. It was very short, and like it was supposed to like finish the story, but it really actually didn't, and it was.
Yeah, the ending was so disappointing. I remember because you think you died. I remember. I was like, wait, that's it? But
then there was one more Ghost Recon. It was
Future
what was
Soldier.
it called? Yes, and actually, while not in any way a Ghost Recon game, that was a hell of a good game. Actually, that was a really good third person shooter.
Yeah,
it just wasn't really Ghost Recon at all.
Yeah, it was like Ghost Recon trying to do that futuristic pastiche and doing the mark and execute from Splinter Cell Conviction.
Yep.
And I liked that it was just too long. It was just if 8 hours.
I loved how long it was. I loved it. But the biggest issue I had, but it really wasn't that big of an issue. It wasn't a tactical game whatsoever. No matter how you even Advanced Warfighter had slight tactical elements to it. You weren't even the squad commander.
Wildlands is more tactical than Future Soldiers.
It is. Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
And Wildlands is fun. It's just too long. And Breakpoint.
It's very repetitive too.
Yes.
Going open world, I know that was the whole thing. I didn't think it worked very well for what they were trying to do with that game.
Yeah, it was just too repetitive for how big that map was and what it asked you to do, and everything was like copy and paste. Even though mechanically it was really solid and it was fun to
mechanically it was excellent. Yeah.
Yes. But I can't wait to see how they do the return of Ghost Recon. I hope it's not open world, that they finally realize they gotta make these games unique.
Yeah.
For better or worse, like Rainbow Six staying in the Siege area at least makes Rainbow Six unique right now, even though I miss old Rainbow Six that had its multiplayer, had its very tactical single player. Man, I would die for that to happen.
I'd love a new proper Ghost Recon that has a campaign and all that.
Yeah. If we're getting it from Ghost Recon, I'll take it and just leave Rainbow Six for its side. We got later than out.
Yeah.
Well, we got Delta Force. I think it's coming soon, but I think that's just multiplayer, right?
No, it does have a campaign, but the campaign is not free to play.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Okay, cool.
Because it's been out on PC for about a year. Yeah, the multiplayer. I don't even know if it's free, if it's early access, but yeah, the multiplayer is free to play, but you do pay for the campaign.
Okay,
I have no idea. I have no idea if it's any good or not. I never actually played it, but
yeah, I know there's good word of mouth going on with the tactical nature that Battlefield 6 is returning to, that it was last seen in Battlefield 4, and that's coming out on October 10th. So maybe in AAA land that can also scratch that itch because we know Call of Duty is not that. So, but
It's far from it, yeah.
yeah, way far from it.
When
So,
you got Beavis and Butthead running around now, it's pretty.
yeah.
I will say now, I have not watched. We're recording this on the day that the Battlefield 6 multiplayer reveal has gone,
Hmm.
and everybody that I know is glowing over it, and
Yeah.
I hope it's good because I used to love Battlefield. Battlefield, they kind of disappointed me so much. I'm not even gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I will say though, I did already read something today that makes me happy, which is they are sticking with not bullshit skins. Like
Yes.
they're not adding that cartoon nonsense. It's like actually even people who I know are okay with it in Fortnite don't seem to actually care for it in Call of Duty because
Hmm.
it does not belong there. It just
Hmm.
does not fit in there.
Call of Duty feels cheap now for
Yes,
such
it
an
does. It does.
expensive like looking shooter that like
Hmm.
at its best like its production values like seeing like when you really went in all military stuff, especially Modern Warfare 2019 and early Modern Warfare 2, like the skin explosion that game got after Modern Warfare 2 and then MW3 and then Black Ops 6 has been so ugly and disgusting. It's just like feels like so
It
wrong.
it has no identity now. It has
Yeah,
no identity at all.
it has fully
And
become soft.
even at its worst, Call of Duty still had an identity. It has no identity now because of that stuff.
Yeah, and obviously this is Microsoft more than enabling because they got to make those $69 billion back.
Yep,
But
got a lot of cheddar to make up. Yep.
oh yes, but and a lot of people are buying it, so yeah, we're screwed there. But I'm glad at least Battlefield understands that there's an opening, that there's people be like, we're tired of this childish
Sure.
crap over here.
Well,
We want
and
true military sim because it's so funny. Military sims used to be so tired. We got so tired
they
of
were
military
everywhere. They were
now they're
everywhere.
nowhere. Now they're nowhere. That it ready or
Well,
not feels
they're still
fresh.
on PC, but there's nothing on console. That's the problem.
Exactly. So
You
it's like,
still have like Arma and stuff on PC. You just don't really
yeah.
have that much on
And I
console.
remember when Modern Warfare 2019 came out, like because I was so tired of Call of Duty, that when it was coming out, I was like, holy crap, we have not gotten a military shooter like in a while. I was like, that's so wild to think about that. We really swung like the pendulum like so far off from that felt fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel we're still kind of there where the success of Ready or Not, like hearing the excitement for Battlefield 6, I feel like again everything kind of eventually finds its balance, and I feel like a lot of people are so tired of cartoony Fortnite that they just want something realistic again, no matter how uninspired it can be. I'm like, it's been gone long enough. Battlefield has been gone long enough. Finally they got out of the trying to get always a game out because they were always so in direct competition with Call of Duty. They finally realized, nah, just wait.
But
Their
well,
games-
the thing about Battlefield where trying to have too many entries did not work, whereas it does for Call of Duty in certain ways, right? Is Call of Duty, and this is not meant to be an insult of it, but it just doesn't change very much, right?
Yeah.
You might have a new era, so the weapons look different, but the reality is you've got an AK-47 in one and then an AK-470 in the next one. They're effectively
functionally
the same.
the same.
Right, right, right. Well, with Battlefield, number one, they change eras so much that the weapons are different, but also Call of Duty has small maps. So the whole point is you need a lot of them that are different, right? Battlefield, you don't need as many maps. You need few because they're big, and the reality is because of the do they still use the term levolution? I know that's what they used
Yes.
to. Okay,
No,
okay.
I think it still did, but yeah.
Okay,
like,
well, either way, levolution being the destructibility of everything like that. Basically, it makes it that you have an infinite number of maps because you might have the same map, but because of the way that the different buildings are being blown up, so that it actually does change the way that it functions.
the dynamic is different.
Right. So it is, and it's also, I mean, Battlefield's by no means a realistic feeling shooter, but more so than Call of Duty, right? It's not as fast as Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It's
not a point and shoot game that Call of Duty is,
Right,
that you
right.
just kill everyone whoever stares at someone
Right,
and shoots
right.
fast. That there's like you have to figure out the ballistics of the weapon,
Right, right.
the air
Well,
the air travel of the
and-
ballistics and things like
and
that.
specifically, it's not just about your kill to death ratio. Whereas Call of Duty, that's a major part of it, right? Battlefield, I mean, unless you just play team deathmatch, which some people do, but most people tend to play Conquest. The reality
It
is
should
your
be.
kill to death doesn't really matter. What matters is your ability to freaking capture locations. So, Battlefield has a much longer, I don't want to say tail, that's not a way to put it, but it's a much slower, like, growth in terms of people getting better and better and better at it than it is at Call of Duty. So, when they released them too quick, as we saw with Battlefield 4, and then it was a while until 1,
yeah.
but 1 to 5 was too quick, and then 5 to 2142
Yeah.
was also too quick. Or 2042, whatever the hell.
Yeah,
it was.
2042 because
Okay.
2142 was
21 was the old one with mechs, yeah. You need to have, like, Battlefield needs to release and then not have an entry for quite some time.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be left to its own devices.
Yeah, it's not it was never a series meant for the constant churn to be like, oh, there's
Right.
Call of Duty, we're gonna completely. That was John Riccatello over at EA, that because Battlefield wasn't its own flow. Like during the Bad Company days in 2008 and 2010, it was like they were releasing out of the holiday season when they were ready. Those games were awesome. But after Bad Company 2, John Riccatello was like, this is our first step to take back the war against the Call of Duty franchise. And then immediately...
It's because they had lost Medal of Honor, so
Yeah.
they were now trying to actually compete. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Battlefield 3 was the first one that had a lot of hype because it was like from Battlefield 2 to 3, like just base 2 was like
forever,
7
yeah.
it was like 7
Yeah,
years. And if you remember, Battlefield 3 felt like a next-gen game because it was like we were fighting.
It looked like one.
Yes.
I actually argue that Battlefield 3 was not good, but Battlefield 4 was
Yes.
what we wanted Battlefield 3 to be. That was the difference.
Yeah, what screwed Battlefield 3 was the fact that they tried to rejigger that game to work on a PS3 and 360 despite like
I think they took out the destruction, I think. I don't remember there being almost any destruction.
The destruction was worse than Bad Company 2.
Yeah,
it was like how I was like, how's Bad Company 2 the one that has the destruction,
right?
And 3 doesn't have like the same level because like the campaign was like way more linear. Like there was something that was missing about that game, and then that game launched undercooked because they wanted to launch it before Modern Warfare, that Modern Warfare 3 of 2011. I do remember that, and it was like it didn't work. It was like oh man, it's like it doesn't feel like it hit how the hype cycle in how it looked, the PC version, because that's the one that they kept pimping. I remember my friends.
Yeah, they never showed the console version.
Yeah,
they never showed the console version.
I'll never forget as long as I live because they were so hyped by the trailers, by that initial demo at that kind of like Pakistani or not Pakistan, like that Afghanistan level that has like the earthquake and all of that they were demoing all over the place. They were like, this is gonna be the greatest game ever, man. Look how realistic it is. It's gonna look great on PS3. Then the beta happened. And I remember playing.
You realize how much it did not look like that.
And it was like...
It did on PC. To be fair, it did on PC. Yes. It did not on console.
And that's the thing. None of my friends were PC gamers.
I know. I'm just saying. They made sure to never show the console version of that game.
Until we got that beta, and how crestfallen they were was legendary. I'll never forget. It was like they felt mega bamboozled, and I blame EA for that because it was like...
no doubt.
Like, I don't blame them because it's like when you have a game that looked that good for 2011, of course you're gonna pimp it out, but when you're also pimping it out as like your big thing,
you can't hide what the console version looks like.
Exactly.
It's what CD did with CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk. They never once showed the console version. They always showed the PC version.
Exactly, and that's what feels so funny. Like 9 years later, when we're getting to Cyberpunk 2077, I was like, this feels oddly very familiar. I feel I've seen this before, and it was Battlefield 3. Obviously Battlefield 4, at least knowing that it was a PS4 and Xbox One game, we knew it was like, okay, now we know that the machines could theoretically run this now because it's like
the PS4 and Xbox One version were pretty equivalent to the PC version.
Oh yes, yeah. Only a PC, obviously, like with better hardware, had better
higher resolution was about all. Yeah,
but like in assets, like they put all three. It's like that was the most impressive. I remember before the disaster of its launch, it was like everyone was so excited for Battlefield 4 because like, oh, finally, like the promise of 2011, we're getting it here at the launch, and Ghost didn't look good for Call of Duty, so everyone was like so excited for Battlefield 4, and Battlefield 4 launch busted. Like it was like the poster child.
That said, you're right, it did, no doubt about it. And actually, if you remember, because I was in the trenches day one with that game, man. It also did not have a party system at first. No. It was a bitch to get into games with your friends. However, the game itself was so damn good that everyone just dealt with it. And then, I don't know, 6 months later, they finally had all the features that it needed to have.
Yeah, and then it got fixed.
Battlefield 4 did very, very well.
Yes. It took because they delayed a lot of the DLC because they were like, we're fixing this. They did the whole thing of we're going to fix this game. And by August of 2014, that's when the game finally stabilized. It became like what it is, and it became the game that even still to this day, when people go back to Battlefield 4, it's like, oh man, this is still so good. It's like there was still something.
In my opinion, it's still the best Battlefield ever made. I know everyone loves 1. I love 1 as well. I think 4 was way, way better though. Yeah, I love 4.
Yeah, 1 had the... It's cool that we went to World War I.
It had a cool setting. It had a cool setting.
Yeah, and it worked. It worked. It was like, I would dare say that 1 had the advantage that in that sea of battlefields from 4 to 2042, it was the one, pun intended, that was complete. It had a unique campaign with the vignettes, and like a World War One shooter was strange in 2016. It was like
it's actually still pretty strange that you still don't get very many of them today.
Yeah,
no, it was definitely
active.
unique. There was really nothing competing with it except for Titanfall 2.
Yes,
but
ironically, Battlefield 1 8 Titanfall 2's launch, ironically. But it's like but then Battlefield 5, going back to World War 2, felt tired. And that game launched incomplete because they were still fixing Battlefront 2.
And also, it was a case of them tripping over their own stupid ass words. They pissed everybody off with the if you don't like it, then just don't play it. So a whole lot of people said, okay, fine, I won't play it. It really was 5 actually was good. Yeah. It was the beginning of the okay, they need to do something different here for sure.
Yeah. And that one is like the closest that they've launched in early access game at full price, because it was like a campaign with 4 missions, but we are launching with 3. The modes that you wanted are not there. They're coming later. So it was like they launched it so bare bones with the promise of more that I felt a lot of people were like, you're really testing the idea of launching a full retail price game this incomplete. I remember that.
And then they said, hold my beer, and they released 2042.
Yeah.
which was 1/3 of a game.
Oh, yes. And that made it even worse because the wording they used was no campaign, no co-op, just multiplayer.
Because we're
that's
doing
our
the multiplayer, right. Yeah.
And
here's the thing. Here's the thing. 2 years later, 2042 was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It was way too late by that point because nobody cared anymore.
Yeah. It was like, I remember about it when they did the Dead Space crossover. That was the only time that I remembered about it. And I know people like Ains, he was the one that was like, I started playing again in season 4 and it's finally like got where it's at. But that was literally the most broken piece of crap I've ever played in beta form. And I'll never forget it because it was like.
But sadly enough, like when you played it again, it was another case of like they did the hard part perfect. Like they got the mechanics spot on, right? On the technical side, it was perfect. They just forgot to build the easy shit, and it took them forever to get the easy shit added in to the point that everybody either moved on or just said, "Well, why would I play this now? It's too late." So
and
it
coming
never
after
got going.
Yeah, and being like from 4 to that one, it was like you stroke out 3 times out of 4 at that point. So it's like it had that was like Battlefield has launched screwed so many times at this point that I feel a lot of people finally that was the time they were like, flip the table. I'm out. I'm out of here. It's like that wasn't just the one. Like yes, Battlefield 4 launched busted, but eventually you fixed it. Battlefield 1 launched great, had a great setting. It was unique. Good. You're getting there. Battlefield 5, it was good at base but incomplete. And this one was incomplete
and
busted.
So
it was like it was the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse like running all together at once with that one. That is like nah, sorry.
Well,
it's like
I've been talking to both Clint and my friend Rob, and they're both like, oh god, this looks so good. I'm like I don't doubt you. I totally think you're right. I was like, I will not watch it and I will not believe until they prove to me that I can, because I was all in on 2042 before it came out, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna wait just to make sure everybody gets it, and nobody did, and then I kept hearing words about it. I'm like, I don't trust them to release. If they release it, great, fine, I'll probably jump in, but they got to prove to me first that it's
right. I know that the hands-on preview today that they had the streamers kind of be on site and they were like allowed to stream the game of them playing matches and all that, and they announced the beta for next week. There's going to be an early access for people that were watching streamers and got codes.
Yeah, you had to watch, I believe, an hour.
And then suddenly you would get a code, but there's going to be an open beta 2 days later. We'll know.
And then one more a week after that as well. Yeah.
So at least they're showing it to us now. We'll see.
I mean, I will say, they are very confident about this game. You can very much tell from those NDA'd previews, which everyone would like them, so all of a sudden it was okay to talk about it, right? They clearly are confident in the game. So that's a good sign, at least.
Yeah, I would say that
but I will not be day one, because you prove to me first, and then I'll get it.
Yeah, and I don't blame you. It's like, hearing that, I feel when I play it next week, if I get to play it, that's gonna determine if it's gonna be day one for me, because that's gonna be like, okay.
UI, and if he can, maybe Paul should play it the open beta. I'm not gonna bother watching videos.
Yeah, Paul's gonna be a bit, because I played 2042 with him, so it's like he loves Battlefield. So.
Well, anyway, I'm gonna say you and I have actually never played anything together, so we
have to. Yeah, we still play.
When the open beta launches, I'll get Clint to join with us too, so we'll have.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
We'll have 4 squad then.
Yeah, so. And this all stemmed from the ready or not conversation, but it's like, hey, military sims is like
Well, and Battlefield is the news of the day, to be fair. So.
Yes, to be fair. So, even though we talked about Battlefield 6 having this reveal last week, so it's like it feels good talking about it right now with Raider or not. But Rick, Last of Us, you're still doing the chronological playthrough, right?
Yeah, I do not have a whole lot to say there. Yeah. I think last time I was on, I talked about it briefly. The only thing I really have to add on is now, to be fair, I haven't played it much this week, but I did progress slightly through my chronological playthrough to the point that I discovered it does look as though it switches perspectives more often than I thought it would.
Like within the same day, right?
Correct. I had thought it would be, you've got, we knew the preview, the prologue writer was going to jump around a lot, right? But I thought when you got to Seattle, I thought it would be you have Seattle day one as Abby, and then Seattle day one as Ellie. That is not how it works.
So they really did this. They kind of
now, it's not like in the middle of a combat encounter it's going to switch, but like for example, this is going to be minor spoilers for The Last of Us, but it's not really that big of a deal. Seattle day one as Abby, as I mentioned, comes first when you get to Seattle, right? Because she starts early in the day. If you remember, she gets into that. They're taking the truck to go to the FOB, but they get attacked on the way and crash into the hardware store, right? So you play that segment. When you get out of there, there's the gas station where the scars jump the four of them.
Yeah, and you kind of have to defend yourself, like when they're kind of coming at you.
But then since you're close enough to the FOB, there was other wolves going by that stop and help them. So you jump on. She talks to the guy who got injured, and the truck drives off, and it cuts because then it cuts to where they get there. That cut. It jumps over to Ellie.
So and that's when she's arriving to Seattle.
And that's when she's. So I was like, wow, actually. So I'll say they did a little more work on this than I actually thought they did.
That sounds even more interesting. Yeah, it's more interesting because I feel at least it puts better context when things happen.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It kind of changes. I don't want to say your perspective, but it changes your understanding of exactly how this progresses. So now it really does work out almost like a television show, right? Or like a television show. Should have worked.
On that note, because I'm playing Last of Us Part 1, kind of like in that idea, I want to see how this entire story flows playing Last of Us Part 1. I actually stopped right at the end of fall. I quit it, put it Left Behind. I'm going to play Left Behind, then I'm going to start.
I cannot believe they never patched in a way to just play it seamlessly. I thought when they released Part 1, I thought they would give you that ability to do it, and they didn't. Well, at the very least, on a second playthrough. I kind of understand why maybe on an initial playthrough, if it's the first time you're playing it, they don't want you to know that Joel's still alive because it makes you think he died.
Yeah.
But it is, and another thing is, even on the Part 1, why did they not put the comics into the game? Like I have them. I have like 3 copies.
Yeah, American
Dreams. Yeah,
Dreams, right? So
because that specifically is like where Ellie meets her friend. Riley, yes, thank you. And when she mentions the horse, but anyway, yes. Now I did actually play. Are you saying you're doing it that way and then playing part 2 chronological?
I'm gonna do chronologically because I want to see how the story, like in full chronological order, would work, because I feel like it would transition me well from Joel to Abby.
You'd be starting very quickly after the end of the first game. Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, so I kind of want to see how that works. So that's kind of what I'm curious. And Part 1 is still pretty great, like beautiful. It's my first time playing it on the Pro. Still pretty beautiful. I don't know if this happens to you, because I don't know if it happens. Does it randomly sometimes when you're running do like a 1 second hitch? Like it stops like briefly and then it does
my suggestion, if you haven't done it in a while, do a full shutdown of your PS5.
Okay.
Because that might be all that it is. Because sometimes, those SSDs,
they need to decompress from the energy that they have built up.
Yeah, like the whole point of them is obviously that the partitioning shouldn't matter, or not partitioning. I'm sorry, the whatever they call it shouldn't matter, but it still does. I mean, it's still got to seek to some extent. But no, that never happened to me. It happened in something on my but when I was playing not long ago. It wasn't The Last of Us, I don't think.
Yeah. And
then actually not too long after that, the OS crashed anyway, and then it was fine after that. Okay, so I think that's what's happening. You probably need to do a
that's like the only thing that's distracting me is I had a blackout today and I started playing it and I didn't see that, so it probably kind of because of the lack of electricity, it cleared itself out.
Could have, yeah, that could be
around that, but that's kind of like the only thing. So it's super weird. I would say the more time passes, the more I appreciate Part 2's combat design. I'm
You run
noticing. Yeah.
when you play part one, which is good. It is a
Yes.
pretty big improvement over the original release.
Mhm.
You truly do realize how much worse than part two it actually is.
Yes, because it's like it's so obvious. It's like, oh, here's the
Mm-hmm.
chest high like cover. We're about to get. It's like it telegraphs its combat sequences too much,
Mm-hmm.
and you really feel the lack of verticality, being able to
Mm-hmm.
jump around,
Yes.
and kind of like
Yep. Yep.
because of the way those level designs are laid out. That from a gameplay perspective, I feel like part one is finally showing its age. It's still great, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
two doesn't get the credit it does in its improvement in its combat design.
I have said that since the day that game released. I'm
Yeah.
like, I see people. It's like, even people that didn't like the story. The combat's pretty good. I'm like, no, the combat is incredible in that game. I don't know where it's pretty good, or I hear people say the gameplay is not good. I'm like, I don't know what fucking game you played because it
Mm-hmm.
ain't the one I played.
Yeah.
Because I think the mechanic, taking out the story
Mm-hmm.
entirely, I think the gameplay of part two is almost unrivaled in the like.
In
There's
third
not a whole
person.
lot. Yeah, in third person. There's not a whole lot of games that obviously are that kind of thing directly,
Yeah, I
but
feel
like,
I feel there are tighter gunplay mechanic shooters out there, but like the
sure,
mix of the animation
me,
quality, the
melee
AI,
and
melee.
yeah, that's the other thing. I never hear anybody talk about the AI, and to this day, I still think Last of Us Part Two has the best AI I've ever
Oh
seen.
yeah, and
No, no,
you
no, no,
feel it
no,
with part
not your
one.
teammate. Your teammate's still fucking retarded.
Yes.
But the enemy AI, the way that they like talk to each other, and
Mhm.
like you can't kill one and just move past because they start calling them. They're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
where'd Joe go?" Right? And it's like that's amazing. I like the fact that nobody has even tried to emulate that tells you probably how hard that actually was to code.
That's why it took forever, and why like, it's
Yeah.
probably taking forever for them to do another game. But
Yep.
that
Yep.
AI shine like that's why I love the no return mode of The Last of Us Part Two because it's like
Hmm.
it removes the story, like whatever story
It lets
complications
you
you
it
may
lets
have,
you do the gameplay however you want to, basically. Yeah.
and it kind of like underlines that it's like there's a pretty incredible game here, and look how it
Sure.
works, just removed from the heaviness of its story. So that's kind of
Hmm.
like the thing that I'm excited as I'm gonna transition over to part two's chronological, because like already mechanically I'm already feeling that
Hmm.
I like that you remade this. Gosh, I wish the gameplay was like part two.
I, I,
That it
I,
like
I understand why they couldn't do all of it,
yeah,
but yeah, there's no question when you have played part two, part one is like
yeah.
this is still good. Like it's not like you're going back to something that's
Exactly. And
unplayable.
yeah, like
But it's like man, you can see where they really kind of learned what they were doing after this game.
yeah, it definitely part one feels better than the remastered from PS4, like in gunplay specifically because of animation. Just animation work alone improves gunplay, improves the feel of movement, the thing, and but it's
It's
subtle.
so much
It's
smoother for everything too. Like
yes.
like transitioning from your gun
Hmm.
to meleeing somebody. You did that in part one, but it's way smoother in two.
Yes. But
But I
even
was gonna.
smoother in the remake of part one versus the remastered. That
Right,
it's
right,
the
right, right,
animation was very jumpy. Like
right.
it didn't. It felt. There was a stiffness to going from melee to aiming a gun in the original version of Last of Us
Hmm.
compared
Hmm.
to the remake. But I would say that's a more subtle improvement compared to like the wholesome, like the
Hmm.
wholesale gameplay improvement of part two. And I feel like that
Hmm.
is gonna be aging better and better now that as time keeps going by. And part two is getting repraised thanks to the disaster of the TV show of
Hmm.
completely missing the point. That I feel like the game is finally getting a well-deserved reappraisal, even for the people that don't agree with the story. I feel like at least now its other aspects are holding up more. That I
Hmm.
feel like we're seeing that conversation is finally like shifting away from oh, it's like the lies. I thought we're gonna be playing
He
adult
was
games.
innocent.
It's innocent, yeah, and all of that's
Another thing about it is, and a reason why I think it's maybe starting to be more appreciated. We are more than now than. No, I'm sorry. Yes, we
it's
are. We are
five
more than
years.
five years. I'll try to remember what month it came out. It came out in June.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's still nothing that's even come close to that kind of in that genre, right?
In that
It's
quality,
even
nothing has
come
touched it.
close to that kind of gameplay.
Yes.
Even games that are very good, it's
Mm-hmm.
still like, man, this still is just
That's why I can't wait for
an entire
Intergalactic.
level. Yeah, anybody that even doubts that Intergalactic is going to be anything less than a spectacular game doesn't know
Mm-hmm.
anything about games. That's all I
Exactly.
can say.
And
That's all I can say.
that's why I can't wait for Intergalactic to come out, because then usually a new game reappraises or kind of like changes
Mhm,
the perspective of the one that came before. And right now,
mhm,
unfortunately, this second game, like on top of like what makes me feel sad about when part two came out was that the context of its leaks coming in during the pandemic, the factions, non-factions thing that
mhm,
happened, them releasing the remake of part one and then the remaster of part two. I feel like it existed in this kind of like it existed in this cloud of they're just milking The Last of Us right now,
Mm,
and I feel that model the idea that it's like it's still a pretty excellent game if it was just kind of left alone. and
mm,
and I feel like once we finally move on, and Naughty Dog reminds people they know how to do other games too, and they're
mm.
gonna do a game that's complete full melee focus. It's very clear, like as they
I think they
said.
did say there's guns, but I don't think it's as much of a focus.
Yeah,
I thought they said there is guns though.
I don't remember hearing that there's guns, but it was like they specifically said that melee was gonna be a very big focus, and it's their
Yes,
deepest
yes,
combat system yet.
yes.
and
I knew that. Yeah.
and that makes sense because originally part two of Last of Us, like the original design doc, if you look at Grounded 2, the documentary, they wanted this game to be melee focused and open
Right.
world,
Right.
like that resembled a Souls like. And I feel like they still want to do something with that, and that's where they instead of putting in Last of Us, they put in a new IP where it would make more sense to kind of build that kind of gameplay. So excited to finish the chronological and see kind of how that story plays out. Even in the brief
Yeah.
time that I played the chronological up until the museum, I was like, this flows shockingly well. I'm excited to see how else like.
It's as I said, it is absolutely not a way to play
Mhm,
it the first time because even outside of taking the story out of context,
mhm.
it's a bit of a slog to go through all the
The walk,
flashbacks at the beginning.
yeah, because
Like
there's a lot of walking and talking in those
right,
early parts.
right. If you know what you're doing and you're like me and love the game, it
Hmm.
works. But if it's your first time through, you might be like, "What is?" It's Hellblade 2,
Uh-huh.
except triple as long somehow.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the actual like really truly good gameplay is 5 6 hours in then right.
Hmm.
But you're right in terms of telling its story, it actually works way better than I ever thought it would have.
Yeah, and it makes the decision for the TV show to not do this even more infuriating, considering
Mhm.
considering.
Which it shows they could have done it, they just did it so damn poorly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that to me makes me more angry because it's like that. Probably Naughty Dog showing there was a way. You didn't need to just
Mhm.
try to adapt
Mhm.
beat the game without really adapting it.
Do,
Like,
do you think that this chronological update was done? I don't want to say in response to the show being a mess, because the
hmm,
reality is it came out far too soon after the show was done for it to have been that. But do
hmm.
you think it was done as a means of, or not a means, but a response to how they were doing the show? Because I kind of do think that was part of it.
Yeah, they probably knew, like, because the shows are shot way in advance, and like the
Mm,
pre-production and all of that, that they probably had a curiosity
mm,
because they probably saw that, oh, the game, the season is adapting the show almost to the letter of like when the big things happens, like
mm,
the flow, even down to where it ended.
mm,
That yes, that was the story, but with a 2 year gap in between, that doesn't work in the TV show.
mm,
Like that, it's gonna be really rough, especially with your execution being spotty.
mm,
On top of that, that I'm like, they probably had this curiosity and they probably fast tracked it as
mm,
we gotta keep doing something to keep, because it's
mm.
like we have
We
to
can't let the
forget.
brand die. We cannot let
Yes,
the brand
they
die on
couldn't,
this. Yeah.
and especially because the factions cancellation, I feel, is still reeling because that was supposed to be the game that was gonna sustain at least for a little bit the studios they
I
were
wanted
waiting.
that so bad because Last of Us multiplayer was so good.
I know. It's like,
One more quick thing I do want to say on chronological mode, just because you mentioned
mm-hmm,
it, something that did surprise me, and we may have even talked about this. I can't remember.
mm-hmm,
Um, I was surprised how, contrary to what I thought, the impact of the "but I'm going to try" was actually not lost on this. I
because it's
thought
like,
it would be. I
mm-hmm,
thought it would be lost to be shown up front, and it's like, no, actually, if anything, it might actually make it like more brutal because now she's directly watching this shit happen, and it's not
uh
a like
and
it's like
you as a player and you're just a player
yes,
putting yourself in
yes.
like finally you get that, and now you have to hit the reality of like the
Mm,
long journey of like getting that
mm,
robbed from you. It's like it's an
mm.
interesting way to see that the
Now,
story
now that
both ways
said,
works.
it is still not the way to play it the first time.
Yeah.
Like you still should play. If somehow you have never played this game before and are
Hmm.
interested,
Yeah,
you
play it
still should
in its
play an
order.
original mode.
Hmm.
But this is 100% a really good second playthrough. Like
Yes,
it really is. Like, it
like
is
a
a good
new,
way to
almost
play it
like
on a second.
almost like a new game plus style, like second.
You might even be able to use New Game Plus. I don't know. I
Mhm,
actually
yeah,
don't know how that works.
but
But
instead of doing the normal new game plus that the game already came with, this could be like
this
the
is
one
almost a
to do
better way
it
to do it.
because
Yeah.
then like you have the contest be like, and then be like, okay, let me see it in order. I want to see like how
Yeah,
everything flows.
it's
And
interesting, and it also shows you like it does not happen in the order quite that I thought it did.
yes,
Like
and
there's certain things that I thought were maybe earlier
and
or later than they actually
and I
were.
know a lot of people were bitching about the fact that gosh, they just won't let The Last of Us Part Two let it go. It's like they're still like milking. It's like this was
It's a
free.
free update.
It's
It's a
a
free
free
update.
update.
Like, that argument totally does not resonate with me because
Mhm.
first of all,
If it
remastered
was charged, I would have.
it was
Yeah.
a $10 upgrade,
Hmm.
and the reality is you could say you paid $10 for no return, and that was
Yeah.
well worth $10, right?
Yes.
Um, Part one should not have been $70. I'll go along with that, but
Hmm.
$50 that's an okay package for $50. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sucks they don't have
The
the
Part Two
multiplayer.
remaster is such a incredible value at 50
Yeah,
compared to the remake at 70. The
yeah,
7
yeah.
that remake was like, I wouldn't want to say a rip off, but it was
It
like
was
the
just
value.
overpriced.
Yeah, it was just way
overpriced,
too
but
overpriced for like what it was, and also in direct comparison to remaster, not having multiplayer on top of that, it was like you're
mhm.
getting less for more.
That's
And
exactly right. Yes, and
yeah,
that's the
and
problem. But that said, to
remaster, you're getting
say
more for like you're getting more
to
for less.
sure, sure. But in terms of part one, to act like there's no difference there is just straight up lying. Like there was a lot of
No,
work put
there
into
is.
that,
Oh
and
yes.
people are insane if they think it plays exactly the same because it
Yeah.
doesn't. If
Yeah.
you think it plays the same, even go load up the PS4 version of Last of Us, and you tell me it
Immediately fail. You
feels the
immediately
same.
feel it.
Like the combat, even if it is a step backwards, obviously from part two, it is still massively improved over the original
Yeah,
version of the game.
is that what I say? It's subtle. It's all in the animation.
Yeah.
The animation work and the quality alone is what makes it better than its original.
Even the enemy AI is actually quite a bit better in
Yes.
part one than it was
Yeah,
in
not quite part two
remastered later.
level, but it's still like
Right,
better.
right.
It's still better. It's like it can
Yeah,
still
because
break you.
they still work together. They still flank you in ways they didn't do. Like
Mhm.
it is a better game. It just should not have been full price. I agree
Yes.
with that.
Yeah, them giving it for free in Last of Us Day in 2024 in PS Extra, I think was the right move because removing it from the $70 price point is still a pretty, it's still a pretty great package.
I think Sony pricing it at $70 was unfortunately the move, coupled with obviously the ridiculous response to part two.
Hmm.
I think that was the move that started all this negativity towards Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
I think if they would have charged, let's say $40 for part
Hmm.
one, there'd be some idiots out there that mumbled and grumbled, but I think most people would have just let it roll off their back and just
Yeah, I
ignored
feel
it.
like I feel it's more. It was like when it came out, it was like even though it was 9 years since its release, because the remaster already existed and it was playable and it worked on the PS5. In fact, like the 1800p mode of the remaster worked so much better on the PS5 because it could lock
Mm-hmm.
finally the frame rate because that
Mm-hmm.
mode was like unstable on the Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the 60 frames mode. So it was like
Mm-hmm.
the remaster already saw the benefit of playing it on the PS5 that a lot of people were like, why do you have to remake The Last of Us when there's so much a back catalog of Sony stuff that could have gotten that remake? And so it was like, I feel like
And
it
that's
earned
absolutely true, but why would Naughty Dog be the ones who made those? That's the
exactly,
thing.
yeah.
Like, if you want to say Sony should bring those back,
Mhm.
I agree with you.
Yes. And
Why
what's
does
funny,
Naughty Dog fall in on this? Because they should be remaking those old
exactly,
games.
yes. And what's interesting is that if you're, I don't know if you remember the story of the visual arts team was actually the one that spearheaded
Yeah.
this. That
And
it's
then
so
they pulled it out and gave it to Naughty Dog direct, or Naughty Dog themselves took it.
yeah,
Over,
because
yes.
because Naughty Dog was so kind of like they're so protective of The Last of Us as a thing that
Yes,
they're like,
yes.
wait, the guys are remaking our game.
Well, because
No, it's
also,
like
yeah, they were trying to remake the original Uncharted, which
Mhm.
that's not a bad idea. Like,
Yeah,
why has that
that's
not happened?
yeah, it's like
That game
2000.
could use a
It's
remake rather.
18. It's 18 years old, and it's so rough.
And
It's still fun to play. Yeah.
compare it to even Uncharted 2,
Yes.
and it's night and day. Like that game really,
Mhm.
a remake actually would benefit that game.
Oh yeah, and Uncharted's been gone so long that I feel like I would. I feel people are itching for back to something more feel good. I feel like right now there's a hunger for feel good media based on the response to Superman, the response to Fantastic Four, the response to Death Stranding 2's ultimately positive message too. I feel like there's a lot of like desire for things are too dire out there. We need something more like cheery, and Uncharted is that. I feel like it's like it's finally at the time where I feel that would be like more welcome because it's been gone for so long. And it would be better because 18 years is a long enough time for a
Yeah.
remake. 9
Oh
years,
yeah.
way different for a Last of Us Part 1 remake. And
Mm,
that's just unfortunate because the visual arts team wasn't up to the task and the work was there, and then Naughty Dog just took it and finished it and used their excuse that they used for the remaster for The Last of Us 1 was like, oh, we want to learn the PS5. And
Right, right.
back then, I believed it too. It's like, okay, I'll give it to you because at that point we knew that they were working on factions. So it's like, yeah, I could kind of see this is a good exercise for you for you guys to really learn this hardware to do that multiplayer game. But in the light of the cancellation, just feels wrong or worse. So. But yeah, excited to play more of Last of Us. Like as I keep it in the mood and seeing how it all flows, and maybe catch up on that by the next time we rotate together. Real quick, I played Wildgate, the multiplayer game from the former Blizzard guys. I talked about this briefly last week because I had just started playing. I was helping Travis Northup from IGN. He was doing the review for it, and he needed a crew, and he gave me a PC code. Surprisingly worked on my PC. That's a good thing of former Blizzard people. They know how to scale,
Yeah.
and it's like the
I,
game worked.
I don't think Blizzard. Well, I mean, I saw Blizzard, but I don't think Blizzard themselves do much right. But they are good when it comes to the
Optimization
scalability and optimization. Yeah.
So it worked really well on my PC. So I got to play like a few hours, a good 5 to 6 hours with him. It's like this is a very interesting PvPvE game that has the ideas of Sea of Thieves, of exploring around, looting around, and suddenly having combat against other players. And I like the idea. My worry is that it's very thin in content. The more I played, I felt I saw the different kinds of ways every match can go in there. It's like you're dropped randomly in the map. You're flying with your crew of 4 in a very slow moving ship. You find like specific space stations or asteroids that may have loot inside of them, that you do the little objectives there, which sometimes go from killing all the enemies there, kill some eggs, bring some bombs and put them inside like some machinery and things like that. I feel like the objective variety ran out of variety really quick, and the variety came more with the flow of if suddenly you ran into another ship that's looting somewhere else, or they're going for this artifact, that whoever wins the artifact, they then go to the wild gate, which is kind of like think about it like the mass relay that sends you out of the orbit. That's who wins. The dynamics of maybe there's ship to ship engagement where some people can invade another people's ships and they have combat inside. You go like trigger like the event horizon of a ship and just blow from inside, and while everyone's trying to repair things, there's a lot of dynamic. There's a lot of you make your own fun kind of like stories that you can tell how some matches go, that I feel that could sustain it. I just hope and pray. They say that they're doing this. They say that they're taking the Helldivers 2 model of quick updates to kind of like keep a dynamics going, because I feel that's a very smart way to do a live service. I hope they do that, because I feel this game kind of got pooped out of nowhere. Even though it was revealed earlier this year, it was like
this is the game that's like Space Sea of Thieves. Correct?
Yes. Okay. And it was revealed at GDC this year, and then suddenly dropped last week. And I remember telling Joe about it. He was like, "That came out?" I was like, "Yeah." A lot of people, when I tell them I did, it's like, "That came out."
Is it early access or is it the final release?
Yeah, final release. Okay. $30, and it's on consoles. It's crossplay. It's a pretty fun. It just feels like it launched at too much of a dead time, even though there's still a lot of games that came out, but you just feel like it launched with no fanfare for a game that's ostensibly the Blizzard people were like, we wanted to kind of do this game, but we're not allowed over at Blizzard because they were so knee deep into their tried and true, which is I kind of get, and the quality is there. It's just very thin, and the Steam numbers were pretty dire. Not Concord level, but low enough that you're like,
there aren't many things that are that low. So.
Exactly. So it's like it was just
you and me could release a game and probably have better numbers than Concord.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like to me it was like I was getting bitten on flashbacks of like, oh man, I'm playing, because I was late July was when we were playing the Concord beta, and that's when things were, the writing was on the wall for that one. But then so it's like this game is way better than that. The art style, it's very Blizzard. It has charm. It's like at least there's like a vibrancy to it that I enjoyed looking at. It plays fun. I like the different character classes that you get, but it's like I'm hoping that eventually catches more fire, or more people see that there's something here, because it's a cool idea. Sea of Thieves style, like spacefaring adventure, even though it's not as emergent, or because it's match based. Sea of Thieves is not match based. It's like
okay.
Yeah. Sea of Thieves is like you go into the world, and the world is better than that, and you can stay in the world and just keep doing.
Right.
This one
it's like, persistent, right?
Yes, this doesn't have the persistency. That's probably what's hurting it, probably, but it also makes the matches fun, because it also has that thing where let's play another one, because we almost had these.
Sure.
Like, yeah. Because when we want to do the matches, like it was down to us, the final 2 ships. We had the artifact. They had us, and they destroyed our ship with the artifact, but because they were low level, our explosion of our ship destroyed our ship and it tied the entire match. I think there's fun to be had with that kind of
Yeah.
thing, and I hope they do more because I want more unique multiplayer stuff in the space. It's just it needs better fanfare. They need to know like when to hit at the right time because it really came out of nowhere. It was that Travis hit me, be like, "Hey, I'm playing Wildgate. Want to play?" I'm like, "Sure."
I will say in their defense, when do you release something now?
Yeah, it's really tough. It's really tough right now.
You can't wait till next year because there's way too much next year, including Grand Theft Auto, right?
Yeah.
But there's no other window left open this year, so you basically just have to release it and pray. That's about all you got.
Yeah,
so.
and my hope is that they knew that, and hopefully the budget was appropriate, that they can kind of weather maybe like a slow word of mouth imprint, because I feel the people that play it do like it. It has that. Conquer, the people that played it fucking hated it.
So some people liked it, but
yes.
yeah, the most.
But in general,
people
like, but in general, even the people that liked it had backhanded compliments. The gunplay is really good, but this characters suck. Like it's
the characters
so
were
generic.
awful.
They were all awful. So
there was like one character that wasn't horrible to look at.
Yes. And finally, Rick, that was just Wildgate. Just wanted to touch on that. IGN gave it like Travis gave it a 7. I think I would be around there too if I would do a review. It's like it's pretty good. It has. It would be one that if it survives a year and it has full content, I could kind of see a re-review that
might be a game that would greatly benefit from being a
sub.
I mean, well, I was gonna say there's no such thing as games with gold anymore. So basically, just on PlayStation, it would either benefit from being a Game Pass or specifically a PS Plus game, kind of like a Rocket League, right? A game that
an essential
probably nobody, right, a game that nobody would have played, but you released it for free for a month. A bunch of people got it, said, hey. There actually is something here, and it sticks, and then before you know it, you're selling over time. It might be a game that really does benefit.
The fact that both Rocket League and Fall Guys released that way, that we're giving it away only for this month, and then the word of mouth was so strong that then people kept buying it because everyone kind of got in at that initial fervor.
You may have said this. How much is the game? I don't remember.
$30.
Okay, so it's an inexpensive game then too,
exactly.
which
helps.
Like,
so that helps a lot, and I feel like I understand how a game like Wuchang made it to Game Pass too, because we're really gonna talk about that. It's $50 outside, so it makes more sense that I could see some of those games that already have like a lower buy-in also come in a sub, because it's easier, kind of like Expedition 33 that even with Game Pass like at $50 everyone bought in with that one. So that's probably kind of like what helps. I would hope eventually they get a Game Pass bag or a PlayStation Plus bag, because I feel like it's the kind of game that I feel like when people play it and feel how good it feels to play. There's something cool with it that I feel
it'll get an audience, which will then push more updates, which will then push a bigger audience, which then pushes more up. It's basically that's exactly what happened with Sea of Thieves. Yeah. Nobody gave a shit about Sea of Thieves when it first came out because it was pretty bare bones. But once it finally got to Game Pass and started to over time build a community, they kept supporting it and adding more, and now it's a huge game.
But to be fair with Sea of Thieves, that was the first day one launch Game Pass game. And
was it?
Yes, it was.
I thought it was added after the fact.
No, it was. That was the first one that they started with. Like because Game Pass started in 2017, and then when 2018 came in, they announced it's like, oh yeah, starting with Sea of Thieves, going forward, every game that we release is gonna be day one on Game Pass.
Well, and to their credit, that was a good one to start with. So,
yes.
So they made a right call there.
Because then like people played it at launch, they hated it because like even people were like, oh, I see why you're
there. Yeah.
Because people were like, oh, I see why you're giving it for free. There's nothing here. But then by E3 that time, by E3 of that year, the content started rolling in because it was already on Game Pass. It had a few that was like, there's nothing there, but when the fun is there, there's fun in Sea of Thieves. So it's like at least you know the anecdote.
It's not to obviously go too deep here into Sea of Thieves, but Sea of Thieves is the example of how this needs to go. Right? You got when you release it. It has to have something to it. Even if there's not much there, it's got to be able to attract an audience because it has the gameplay, and then that over time means then whoever the publisher is, they're gonna have to stick with it and update it. Can you hear that? I don't know if that's coming through. Okay. My computer's fan is dying.
Oh yeah.
I can hear it. I wasn't sure if it was coming
so
through the mic. Okay.
Yeah. I can hear it. Don't worry. But it's like I feel it had that advantage that I feel Microsoft really wanted to make that work, and I feel like that was a good Game Pass test for them because them keeping it there meant that they let the snowball roll for that one for a while. That then look, it's like that's one of their most successful games ever. Like
Hmm.
the few in positivity, one of the few that then when it migrated to PlayStation with everything now and like
Mm.
packed in, even the reviews was even reflected. There is like a no, there's a really robust, really fun game here that has taken advantage of the 6 to 7 years of content it's gotten there. And I would hope Wildgate eventually gets there because there's something fun there. It's just right now it's starting very very slow, at least in the fanfare. Many people don't know it came out. So
Hmm.
finally, Rick, Wu Chang, you were playing this, and originally I was like, I feel like I'm really burnt out on Souls likes. I'm not feeling
Mm.
it, and then suddenly I was like, I do have Game Pass. Let me install it. Just let me see it, and it confirmed to me exactly how I'm like. I am so. I feel I'm hitting now a complete full on moratorium on getting a Souls like at this point. Like
Well,
I broke it with Kasan this year. I enjoyed Kasan to a certain extent, but it's still like I realize I'm just tired. I'm just
hmm
sick. It disgusts me. This style of game has been more than overplayed at this point, and I don't care how unique some of the level design or that the fact that the
mm
block here is a wall time dodge and all that, that there's something cool
mm
that happens 10 hours later. I don't care. I finally hit
mm
that point with this one that I'm like, yeah, I feel Wukong broke me. I forced myself through Wukong late last year. That one was also more because like it being so nominated by so many people, like in fan votes and all that kind of
Yeah,
like
I think that's insanity. I
yeah,
don't think Wukong was anywhere near Game of the Year worthy.
exactly.
But
But the curiosity kind of like fueled me because I was like, I need to at least try to see it so I can kind of see maybe I find why it's so praised. And the only thing that
mm
I could find praise in that game was the secrets of that game. They were like pretty robust.
mm
It's real ending, it's awesome, but the requirements for the real ending are horrible. But when you get there, it was like the spectacle of like you don't see that in a Souls like what it does
mm
in its like a original ending. And the final boss was pretty cool. Like the final boss was like a your mirror, and he teased you with your own movements and all that, so it felt like you were fighting yourself like in a very legit way instead of like the Elden Beast of Elden Ring and all that about it. There was so much about the design of that game that broke me, like to into taters
mm
in with its annoying level design and it's like annoying like enemy placement and all that. That I was so tired. Then Kasan had that the SG circle was all over it, and kind of you kind of sometimes give in because you hear praise, and there was something cool with that one, and I really feel bad. Wu Chang I feel is very, it feels very generic to me. That as soon as I
it is a bit
started,
generic. I'll agree
yeah,
with that.
that I was like, oh yeah, I'm not feeling it. And then I saw that you were having like that first boss really like curb stomp you left and right until you finally beat it.
No, no, I only lost to it, I think, 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm always just like, yeah, I beat it. F that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, no, I don't remember what it was. It was giving me difficulty. That said, I do want to say your things on Twitter rather you as well as somebody
Mm-hmm.
else who I actually Ains knows as well.
Uh-huh.
I said it to Clit. I took a screenshot and I said the duality of man
Yeah.
because you shared something saying about Souls uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Souls are tired or like
being tired of them, right?
mm-hmm.
And the other guy, Dr. Mo,
Uh-huh.
he shared actually the same thing, or I'm sorry, he shared something that somebody else shared
Mm-hmm.
of the other person shared the same thing you did,
Uh-huh.
talking about how being tired of Souls just means you don't know what a Souls game is, stuff like that. And
No.
I'm like, okay, well, this tells me more or less what I already knew, which
Mm-hmm.
is that number one, the Souls community are some of the, and I'm part of them. So
Yeah.
I want to be clear that I'm part of the community. Is some of the biggest whiny crybabies there is. That
Yeah.
simply cannot accept the fact that maybe somebody doesn't like your genre.
Mm-hmm.
And the next biggest group, and by this I don't mean you, but the next biggest group might be the people that don't like Souls games at that.
Yes.
So, but I thought it was funny. Now that said, on to Wu Chang, I do agree with you that it's probably a little on the generic side, but I actually do like it. Its
Mm-hmm.
biggest issue is that it's a friggin' technical
Technical
disaster.
mass. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really is.
where are you playing? Are you doing PC or
No, I'm on PS5 Pro.
okay.
Apparently, the PC version is almost unplayable.
No, yeah, I was watching Brad Ellis play it last week, and the
Mm,
frame rate started tanking to the 15s one time. I was like, oh,
jeez.
this is like shit right now. It's just like a complete slideshow. And what you call it? I did the Series X version. It looks like dog shit. It
Yeah,
runs like dog shit. Like
yeah,
I try to do the quality mode, one of the most horrible quality modes I've ever seen.
yeah.
And I tried to do the performance mode. It was very blurry. I had screen tearing galore. It was like itchy. I was like, oh man, nah. And so that was already adding to my annoyance. That is like, god damn it! It's like not even the Series X can like. I can't even imagine what this runs like on the S, but
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah, I think I heard the S barely maintains
mhm.
like 20 half the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like so that already kind of put me like in a pissy mood, and then I was like, I don't think I can do this song and dance right now. I
Yeah.
just
No,
can't.
I get it.
And I went and deleted it immediately. That's when I knew. And I even made a joke like I because Luis, who's the guy that reviewed it for SG, he gave it an 8. He wanted to give it a higher score, but Ains kind of like told him to.
I think 8 is about spot on actually for where I
Yes.
would go with it.
No, I feel like for everything, I think like based on everything I read, I feel like they nailed the score. All or like all things considered, consider it was like a 77 or 79 open creation, which I'm like, thank God. It's like I'm like,
Mm,
yes, at least it's like I know I'm not crazy. See, it's not this supposedly revolutionary Souls
mm,
like. That's kind of why I'm not
mm.
feeling. I enjoyed Kazan more, and even then I got tired of Kazan.
I think most people actually would say Kazan is probably better.
Yeah.
I would say there's obviously better um, build,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Full
character build,
potential.
if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Wukong, because actually that is one thing it does well. Is
Wuchang, because Wukong doesn't have build.
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Wu Chang. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wu Chong, I guess is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Um, because it does actually have a very good skill tree. It's actually huge.
Mm-hmm.
And you get, I believe it's 6 different weapon types, whereas Kazan there's only 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not to say that you can't do different kind of build types, but it's more about like, I guess like status ailments and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
that whereas here, it's pretty crazy actually how your build crafting can work. But it is a nice looking game. The kind of like Chinese setting is a
Mm-hmm.
it looks good and all that. But you're definitely right. The technical side hurts it. I'm on pro,
Mm-hmm.
so I have it on quality mode.
Yeah.
Because performance is not steady enough, and then
Mm-hmm.
it looks like friggin' Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's performance mode.
Oh,
When you
Dan on
said
the
that,
pro, that's rough.
yeah, yeah. I guess the problem from what I hear is, despite claiming that it is PS5 Pro enhanced, it actually is not really. It just kind of uses the extra horsepower to give it a couple extra frames
Yeah,
for what it would normally have.
it's the fake enhance. It's the fake
Yeah,
enhance that a few have
yeah,
gotten away with, that
yeah.
have tricked me. It's kind of
So
like the I don't know if you saw Digital Foundry that also the PS5 Pro enhance originally for the Oblivion remaster was bullshit. It
yeah,
was like
yeah.
it was complete bullshit. It ran better on the Series X in specific areas. Later on, I think eventually got there, but it's like some people just slap that thing and call it a day without like really
Mm,
like. I feel like by the time that we don't hear like full details of how they're using the Pro, that's when I don't believe your PS5
mm,
Pro enhanced patch is quite there. But I made the joke like in the SG staff chat. I was like, I played Wu Chang and I posted the Scorsese meme.
yeah, yeah.
The abysmal dog.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. I was like, man, if you don't like it, I don't think that's quite
I
accurate.
know, I know. I used to just to troll them because I knew
Yeah.
that they were gonna be like, especially the Souls guys
Mm.
of that group.
Well,
So
yeah, like I said, you cannot tell a Souls fan that a Souls game's not good because
mhm.
they'll melt down.
Yeah, there's like a gross spine people. I'll say
But
that. But
that's it. I did was like the one that you shared, and then the one that the other guy shared that
mhm.
then was shared. It
Yeah.
was the video of
The guy with the
Penguin.
long hair. Yeah.
He goes by multiple names. His name is Charlie White, but
Hmm.
most people know him as either Penguin Zero or
Yeah.
Moist Critical.
Yes.
Is what I knew him
Yeah,
as
he
well.
was the one that was like, "Our souls like getting like tired or something like that."
But I'll say the funny part is, if you actually watch that video, I did. The people sharing that as the talk about fatigue of Souls like
Hmm.
clearly did not watch the video because
Yeah.
he does mention it. He does mention it, but then he mentions it in the first minute and a half. After
Hmm.
that, he's basically just reviewing Wuchong. And
Yeah.
it's like if you were trying to make that point, that was not the video to share because
Yes.
it's not really what his
Yeah.
like point was.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's kind of you got caught in like people like me getting caught up in the click, not quite the clickbait, but just the headline
Yeah.
that can speak for itself to kind of
Right.
make a point despite the video not being that.
Right.
So, but it's like I feel like in a year or two's time, maybe I'll like finally find myself like enjoying one of these games. It's just like they're just so. They're a long commitment. They're like a banging a head against the wall, like frustrating to a point that it's like you have to be at a very specific like free time, a very specific mindset to run through the shit with those kinds of games, and I feel like I'm get like 2022 when Elden Ring clicked for me, and I went through a couple Souls games around that time because everything finally clicked for a style of games. Like I have not reached those highs ever since, and it feels just perfect. First, it's just not the kind of game that it's always gonna be the thing that I gravitate to. Whenever I see cameras and I see start dodge rolling, I already roll my eyes. I'm like, it's one of these, huh? It's like it sucks that I just want more variety. This is why I'm like, please, Ninja Gaiden 4, be good. Please, 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 be good.
Yeah.
Like Lost Soul aside, I heard concerning stuff about it based on some previews that
yeah, I did too, but I saw just as much positive stuff, so I actually don't know what to believe there.
Exactly. So it's like that one's gonna be like, just wait until you show me Phantom Blade Zero. We already know they specifically are selling it not as a Souls-like. That is a selling point now. Just saying that you're not a Souls game.
Yeah.
Because it's like that's how pervasive it's become, that I'm like, if I would, gosh, I would die for another Devil May Cry. I would die for another like of that kind of like a true one, not Final Fantasy 16. Like true Devil May Cry. So,
there is a rumor that the first one's getting remade, so who knows?
I'll take it, but if we just need more character like combo.
I would say they should remake 2 so they can actually make it not garbage.
Yes.
but I digress.
Hey, eventually, I mean, start going through 1, 2, 3, like put everything in modern time, because the MC5 is such a character action based masterpiece. Like it's still so good. I was doing a Bloody Palace 2 weeks ago. Just I went through it, and
it's so much fun.
It's so much fun. And I did it like I took the music out and put the Evanescence Afterlife song from the Netflix show, and it worked so well. And I was getting like it's so specific. Like if you're into new metal, like and feeling and how that works so well with how you can coordinate combos and all that. It's like I miss that. Instead of R1, R2, dodge left and circle, maybe a parry. It's like it's just I'm tired of it now. I'm just so tired. And eventually I'll get there. Eventually I can re-energize myself. But I'm like, I feel like everything that has become so pervasive, and I feel Wu-Chang to me, maybe in another time I would have been like, okay, cool, this seems bad. It's like I just went through Wukong.
What if you just real quick, what does, I mean, outside of the technical side, what does Brad think of it? I assume he probably likes it, right? He's not a fan? Okay.
To him it was like, it's like a fine Souls-like. It was one that he plays them because he likes that style of game. But it's like he reaches the point he plays so many of them that it's like the ones that stand out. Like Kazan was that for him. So
well, and I will say, I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong. I disagree with him, but he's also one of the, to be fair, majority that also is of the mind that FromSoft are just miles and miles ahead of everybody else, which I just don't agree with. There's certain areas I think they are, including to their fair, creating the genre.
Yeah, what's funny is that Brad is one of the...
But I actually think Lies of P is way better than anything From has ever made.
Yeah, he loves Lies of P. The thing is that Brad is one of the ones that is more vocal at not praising FromSoft because of the technical performance. He actually does.
Well, the amount of people that refuse to even acknowledge that FromSoft are basically Bethesda in terms of their asinine, terrible technical ability, but people just insist on not doing it. To his credit, even though he's a total fanboy, Dustin does also call out their technical lack of prowess.
Yeah, the two of them are the only ones that at least are more vocal about like complaining about the fact that technically this kind of sucks. They still love the game, but it's like not Brad was one of the few back in the Elden Ring, he was to blame for Elden Ring losing its 98 to 97 because he
really?
He scored
I was going to say, because I specifically remember not long after Elden Ring first came out, somebody had written into LSM about, well, specifically Sacred Symbols, about Elden Ring. I don't remember what the context was and why they did, but they're like,
about why it has such a high score with.
No, actually, no, because that I would have respected. No, the person that wrote in said, why is it that only FromSoft are able to release games that are complete and in perfect shape? And Dustin was like, all right, let's not get crazy here. Like, their technical is absolutely terrible. And I saw it firsthand where people insisted that Elden Ring ran at a smooth 60 on PS5. It's like, you're blind. Yeah. It barely touches 60. I don't know what you're talking about.
Literally.
No, on Pro now it does, but it did not on a base PS4.
But even then, even Digital Foundry was like, if you want perfect 60 on a PS5, play the PS4
You got to play the PS4 version. Yeah, but then you have the long load times after dying, so it's not worth that. But it's like no, the reality is, no matter what you say, Elden Ring should have performed better at launch. There's no question about it. It was a PS4 game.
Yeah, funny enough, like from the only FromSoft game modern times that I felt like ran really well at launch was Armored Core 6. Is the only one that I felt like was like really technical.
It had some slowdown, but not enough to really.
Exactly, it was the least noticeable out of all of it, and there was a cleanness to its entire presentation and its flow that it wasn't there in like especially launch era Elden Ring. I could feel it. It was like immediately I remember talking with Paul. Man, it's like it feels nice playing a FromSoft game that looks this good because the art style of that game is immaculate. Armored Core 6 is like immaculate in its metal style.
Did you have an original Xbox? I don't remember what you said.
I had it, but I never played Metal Wall of Chaos.
No, not actually. I've never played it either. I was gonna ask if you ever played Otogi.
Otogi, I want to because I know it's back compat on.
Unfortunately, if you haven't yet, don't plan to because those games are a fortune. I actually did have them both, and I will say, Otogi 2 might have been the single worst performing game I've ever played.
Yeah.
But you almost forgave it because it had almost like PS3 level like particle effects, and they were doing it on an Xbox, an original Xbox. Now, I mean, when you would do it, it dogged it down to like 2 frames a second.
But back then it was easier
looked so good. It was like, man, it's hard to really criticize.
Yeah, that was the era where the frame rate didn't matter much because like visuals could still like the visuals were impressing enough that it's like the performance wasn't like the problem. It's just later on is like that started becoming less and less impressive if like you couldn't do all of these particles without with your frame rate not tanking, knowing that now the hardware is capable. So, but are you gonna continue Wu-Chang, or is there someone that you're gonna keep just chipping away at? Or
I'm sorry, am I gonna what? I didn't know what you said.
Are you gonna continue with Wu-Chang? Like still like
probably. I doubt it's one that I'll. I mean, let's be clear. I'm clearly not going to beat it. I just don't beat Souls games. The Elden Ring is the only one I ever did. So I'm not going to make any pretending that I'm going to do that. But I'll probably keep chipping away at it for a little while. But again, with like I said, the end of August, all of September, all of October coming up, I make no pretenses that I'm going to keep with this because I'm sure it's just going to fall into the wayside.
If this was Game of the Year material, I would have tried to like at least see it. But because it's not, it's easier for me to walk away. Because I'm just so burnt out.
Yes, I get that. I definitely get that.
Yeah. And that concludes, Rick, one of our longest, what we've been playing that we've had in the show.
An hour and a half of just two of us talking about what we've been playing.
But that's the thing. We haven't seen each other in like 3 weeks, and it was a lot to talk about.
It has been a while. It has been a while.
But that's why I love, this is kind of why I said that I wanted to do one-on-ones, because like it's me catching up with friends, basically, like once in a while. So, but we can go through the headlines really quick because it's not a...
There's only one that's really worth talking much about.
And which is the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase that happened this morning at your 8 a.m. I think, and my 7 a.m.
9 a.m.
Your 9 a.m. Yeah, so it was my 7 a.m. I'll say this: I can't wait for the Partner Showcase that's gonna come in 2 years from now, when we're finally out of the spot where we're in that all of these old games that showed up in other consoles are finally like showing up here, because I feel that was the thing that struck me most, because I got very few, still some things that I'm like interested in, but the fact that so much of this direct had so many games from we've already played or were already announced for like the other consoles.
Well, I mean, I would estimate roughly 95% of this show
was that
stuff that is either already out or has already been announced elsewhere, and it was just being announced for the Switch 2. Yeah, I can honestly say so. The total runtime of the show, they said it would be about 25. It ended up being like 28 minutes, I think. The first thing that even remotely interested me was probably 20 minutes in, and all it was the date for Chronos.
Yes, right? Because it's much earlier than I was expecting, September 5th.
Well, I knew it was this year. They kept saying it was this year, but I thought
it was October. Yeah, I thought
that said, I don't think that's a good release time for... I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, that's Hell Is Us time.
That's Hell Is Us time?
Yeah.
That's like 2 weeks before Silent Hill.
Yes.
like that is not a good time to release that game. Unless it ends up being amazing, which after Silent Hill 2, maybe it will. I don't know. But my argument is you probably do not want to come out before Silent Hill. You probably want to come out after.
Yeah, September is going to be like a bloodbath. Trying to be
they probably should have done late October, early November for that.
October is feeling empty. Like when I really think
It is
about
weird. It
October,
is
yeah, it's
weird.
like
Usually October is insane, but
yeah,
it's really not that bad
it
this year.
almost feels like all of the September dates almost felt like preemptives. They thought GTA was coming out like
Yeah, actually, you're
October,
probably right. That probably is
and I'm
what it
like, you could start delaying a month or two, like fill out the rest of the year because September's like weirdly crowded. But very few things that were new that interested me. One, but then I'm like, I have to really get out of. It's like I know that there's a contingent of people that are Switch 2 only people that for some reason never had these other systems or have a PC. So I could kind of see the idea of like why this works for them because at least be like, hey, now is a reminder probably bludgeoning it now that the Switch 2 it's a legit third-party machine where you're gonna get all these games. What sucks is that because we are cultured, we've owned all this stuff, we have heard about these games. This kind of direct just doesn't work for us because it's like it just feels like watching a rerun of an ad.
I'm gonna push back a little on this, and I saw what I don't know if it was Paul or Joe. It was one of the two of them had said in the chat, and I think they were part right, and whichever one it was, and then kind of rescinded it because I do think that the people who you're talking about, the Switch only people, that blah blah, they weren't watching this anyway. I don't think. Like, so I don't. Yeah. I truly just believe this whole show was just a waste of everyone's time. Yeah, I really do think
I have heard demographics that I feel like Nintendo Direct is one of the few times that a lot of the audience that's from Nintendo actually do tune in to this stuff. I think I remember hearing that late Wii U, early into the Switch, that was kind of one of the reasons why there was a groundswell always support for Directs because it's the one of the few times that the audience understands that that's when Nintendo talks and they actually pay attention. Maybe it's not the entirety of the thing. Yeah, but I do remember vividly hearing that the Direct is like really connects with the demographic of the people that do own the Nintendo, like they're in the Nintendo ecosystem more so than a E3 conference or a like a state of play from PlayStation. That I feel it's more tuning into the hardcore, like people that are more in the know.
I guess my counter argument to that is two things I looked at because I wanted to see. I was like. Am I just in my own bubble feeling this way? So I looked at two areas. Yeah. First, I knew, as always, after a showcase, Jeff Keighley takes a poll on Twitter as to what people think, right? Yeah. You ever look, when it comes to Nintendo, it's always higher than the reality is it should be, right? It's almost always an A or a B. Even if it's the worst show they did, it's a B. This time, it was mostly D or below. Yeah. With a little bit of C, there was very, very little A and B. And the A and B was just people that were just saying it was Nintendo, right?
Yeah, there's no way there was A.
The other place I looked was I was like, because I was like, okay, everyone's always negative on Twitter, but I was trying to look at that comparing to what they always were with Nintendo ones, not Sony ones, not Xbox ones, Nintendo ones, and it was definitely lower, right? Then I went to an area where I'm like, this is definitely where the Nintendo group are going to be hanging out. I looked in the chat, which was a comment section, if you will, of is it Nintendo Life? It's Push Square's Nintendo sister of their live feed of whatever. And there were people talking about the individual games. Anybody talking about the show itself, though, almost everyone said this was a complete waste of time. Yeah. And I was like, this is your hardcore Nintendo group right here. And yeah, that's not to say they're only Nintendo. Yeah. But this is your people who are going to be much easier to appease as Nintendo fans. Yes. And I was like, so this tells me that a lot of people do feel this way. Because, let's be honest, you don't have to be a Nintendo only fan to know only fan, an only Nintendo fan. Let's rephrase that. To know that Madden's coming, EAFC is coming. Although, to be fair, at least this time, they didn't say it, but I know it's been reported that you're actually getting the real version of the game as opposed to the neutered version the Switch got when it came to FIFA. Yeah. So I mean, I'll say that the Kronos announcement was an announcement because I don't think too many people actually expected that one to come to Switch. So that one I understand why it was there, right? Yes. But like Apex, I mean, everybody knew it was coming to Apex, and the reality is, no one's gonna fucking play it on the Switch. Let's be honest. No one's gonna play it on the Switch. It's not Fortnite where people just play it to play as dumb characters. Exactly. It is a game where people play it to compete, and no one's gonna do that on the Switch. So, but even so, you still knew it was coming eventually, right? You don't have to be in the know to know that this stuff is coming to Switch. So this was all just. That was all just a total way. I'm like, I'd have rather just had like a Nintendo. An email. I would have or being at the Nintendo Today, that app that announced the news and all that. I would have preferred that, especially because so much of it was just reminders of like
Borderlands is coming, FIFA's coming.
But yeah, Borderlands, that's another one.
Like Yakuza has a long trailers, but the fact that it's not re-release, they shouldn't have taken that long.
And it's not even like it was Yakuza 0 where you got the director's cut. It's the same game.
Yeah.
Which actually, I guess Kiwami actually is on the Switch, so it's more of a it's an updated version. But it's like, why was it like a minute-long trailer?
Like, even the biggest fans of Yakuza, like Gene Park, even hits there was like Yakuza. This kind of Yakuza announcements don't deserve like this long trailer. They should be like the 5-second Cecil reel of things like that.
And again, I'm not shit talking Nintendo here because I actually think they've done a pretty good job with the Switch 2 so far, outside of their initial messaging, which was horrible. But like this was not a good showcase to do.
It almost felt like Square Enix paid a premium because they needed to announce 2 stuff, which was like
they tried to scramble to fill in the rest of it. I do agree with that.
Yeah, because I feel like why this didn't land for as many people is the fact that a lot of people are still waiting for the next direct. People are still waiting for like the next big like.
Now to be fair, they did call this a partner direct, so people weren't paying attention if they thought they were getting
exactly
first party stuff in this.
So always that when they call partner, that's kind of like the lesser ones. It's kind of like back in the day we had the PlayStation showcases and a state of play. When we heard state of play, you always knew that and then we're just with state of play. So now we have to play.
They dropped the showcase name entirely for whatever reason.
So now we have to kind of play like Russian roulette with, is this gonna be a good state of play? Is this gonna be a bad one?
You gotta go based on how long they say it's gonna be. Essentially,
exactly.
That's more or less what it is now.
Exactly. So it's like that set my expectations accordingly, but even then, I feel like that's why I say I can't wait for the partner showcase from 2 weeks from. I mean, not 2 weeks, from 2 years from now, when now we're like fully in. That I feel the Switch is still kind of getting backloaded ports. A game's kind of like Borderlands is September on PS5, but it's October on Switch 2.
Actually, I had not noticed it was a different time.
So it's like because the Switch was always kind of like the late ports, the late impossible ports, and it feels like now, and there was also the news that a lot of devs didn't get Nintendo Switch 2 dev kits early. So I feel people are still kind of figuring that out. But I feel right now, this is just kind of just a basic reminder for people to be like, hey, if you just want to make your Switch your main platform, just know that there's going to be a lot of third-party support here that's going to complement that. That's still not worth a partner showcase by itself, but I feel that's where we're at. I can't wait when we're finally now all fully aligned, like a year or two time, where then every announcement is a new announcement that, hey, guess what? It's also going to be a PS5 or Series X or PC announcement, kind of like the Square games. They're all multi-platform. They're not exclusive to Nintendo, but it's like them, Square committing to the whole thing that they're doing multi-platform releases and no longer exclusives going forward.
This isn't Square, but the only potential difference, I don't know if Monster Hunter, whatever the hell it's called, whatever they call it, I don't know if that's multi-platform or not. It's not. You don't think?
I don't think it's exclusive because Monster Hunter Stories was multi-platform. But
was it? Okay, I actually did not think it was. I thought it was only on Switch.
But it was PS4 because it was empty framework, so it only had a PS4 version, but also had a Switch version. So it's the same thing. Like Capcom is also very weird with
So that probably will come elsewhere as well. Then.
Yeah. So let me read through some of the things quick here, as per the IGN article that I used for like the recap. So, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment gameplay trailer showcases more of how it connects to Tears of the Kingdom. So kind of like what we briefly mentioned earlier in the show, that you didn't know that this was a full-on new game. So it is a full-on new game that's Zelda focused on the Zelda past, vignettes that you see in Tears of the Kingdom. They confirmed it's still on the winter. I was so mad that they said that because I already knew that it was later this year. So it's like I wish we had known, so at least we kind of know, because I need to know where we're going to slot Metroid. It's still a Musou.
I kind of think Metroid's going to be October, but we'll see.
Pokemon is October. They tend to not want to stack a first-party big Nintendo thing in the same month.
Maybe it's November then.
Yeah, so, and there's still the Kirby Air Riders somewhere there for this year too. So unless one is punting, it's like that's kind of why I'm like, yeah, we need to figure this out soon. Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection announced for 2026. That's a turn-based Monster Hunter for people that have played it. I've heard they're pretty good. I just don't have the time right now, but I've heard they're good. Octopath Traveler 0 brings a new HD 2D adventure to Switch 2 this December. So I think basically a prequel to Octopath Traveler.
I read after the fact. Apparently, it's kind of the story of the mobile game, the Octopath Traveler Chronicles, or whatever it was called. That they kind of recontextualize into a singular story. Or not Chronicles, it's like chapters of something or other, I think it's the name.
But not putting like a full-on new game. That still uses the
Right.
The Octopath system.
This is probably the only game that actually I was interested in. Potentially the one other one too, but
Yeah,
I'm not sure yet. But
exactly.
Octopath I am definitely interested in.
Yes,
However, I'll probably get it on PS5. So
yes. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales, one of the stupidest names I've heard and
yeah.
in a while. Of course, it had to be an HD 2D game by Square Enix. It's Square Enix's latest new action RPG coming to Switch 2. Before we start recording, Brad was playing the demo that's on Switch 2. I downloaded it. I haven't played it, but I'm gonna try it. I like action RPGs myself. I do like Mana. I know you said you're not big on Mana yourself.
Yeah, I'm not.
When I was watching Brad play it, it felt more like a top-down Zelda almost.
Yeah,
He was
that's about right.
So I'm like, okay, I like top-down Zelda, so I'll definitely try it. But a new game, they're really committed to HD 2D. Like Dragon Quest 1 and 2 is also coming this year, like I think in October. So it's like for the people that love that kind of style and want their turn-based from Square Enix or in that style, that's where you're getting it. It's not like they're not giving it to you. So that's for 2026. But play the demo now, exclusive to Switch 2. But that's coming out that's coming out on everything.
Mm-hmm.
They gave another look to Final Fantasy Tactics. I don't think it was. We already knew this. Like the whole new look thing. We already knew that there was like pixel art and the clean version. So it's like that's still coming out September 30. I'm excited to try it. I know you're not a big on tactics, but I'm interested. So Madden NFL 26 has to switch to day and date with their system. So the first Madden game in forever on the Switch. So just from that angle, it's still interesting. I need to find this out. That I want to know if there's cross save between like consoles and the Switch version, because that would be like, I can see that be a hidden Trojan horse of the Madden Bros of like, hey, I want to take my thing on the go and also play thing. Like especially like with the Cyberpunk thing, that's one of the coolest things. You get your PS5 and PC thing and continue it on the Switch. That's so awesome. EA Sports FC 26 brings soccer to Switch in September. Also day and date with the other ones. Fuck EA Sports FC. I hate soccer. I hate those games. Persona 3 Reload launches on Switch on October 23rd. Obviously, we already played that last year. Hella stars an adorable mouse with a magical frog backpack. This was an interesting like rat game that was kind of
they had announced this one previously. I think they announced it in their last whatever their last main direct was. I think they announced it in that.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't really like hit. It was just it was a cool looking thing. Star Wars Outlaws gets a new gameplay trailer for Switch 2. Obviously, like you're gonna get a muddy version of Outlaws.
That was a pretty rough looking version of that game.
When
you're used to the PC or PS5 Pro version, that's pretty rough looking.
Yeah, so you can see it. It kind of looked like a worse version of launch-based PS5 performance mode. So it's like, oof, it's like that's one of
and it was running at 30. Yeah.
So I was like, ouch. But on the go, maybe like on handheld that works.
If they get it running at 40 and you do it handheld, that probably would be good.
And it has a 40 mode already on the base console.
Right.
Plants vs Zombies Replanted brings back the beloved tower defense game. So finally, an original style Plants vs Zombies is coming back, because Garden Warfare was the last time they did something with Plants vs. I like Plants vs Zombies, but I like it on the phone. So I don't know if I want it on the Switch, but it says that it's gonna have local co-op and also PvP. If you pre-order, you can unlock a retro pea shooter skin. Chronos: The New Dawn, we talked about it. Is like the big thing is, yes, it's coming to Switch 2, and it's on September 5th. So much earlier than I was anticipating. Once Upon a Katamari. So Katamari's back. They haven't had a new game in a while. That was the thing that started. It ran really weird. It's like I didn't like how this one looked, but the idea of it being back, it's kind of nice, because I remember Katamari in the PS2. So
I argue that this is a dead horse that they keep trying to bring back to life, and I don't think it's ever going to happen. Because like, there's really only one game that anybody ever really liked, and it was the first one. And they keep trying to do this, and it just, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think they sell for craps. I don't know why they keep tracking this one back.
The last time they attempted one, I think, was on Apple Arcade. So that kind of tells you an idea of how they've been trying to bring it back. So I heard it from Gene Park. It's like, once you play a Katamari, you play them all, basically. It's like they're all the same thing. So maybe for people as their first, so maybe for the people that want this to try it, Katamari. I mean, it's a new one coming on October 24th. Chilling by the Fire was the stupidest game I saw at
Why was that even here?
Yeah, I was like,
I did say a couple people in my Discord said, and they might be right, they think that perhaps it was Nintendo's way of trying to push that stupid
the game share,
the chat thing. Yeah.
But it's like that's just never gonna happen. It's just
No.
like not in the era of Discord. Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2 bring the updated versions to the PS2 classics to Switch 2. That they come both of them on November 13th, 2025. The game I popped up the most for Pac-Man World 2 repack because I love Pac-Man World 2 back in PS2. It's a fun platformer that comes out on September 26th, 2025. The first one was already out on PS5. They also gave it on PS Plus one of these days. It's not as good. This was much better. It's like a more traditional platformer. I remember playing it in 2004 when my dad was going through a spine treatment or something happened in his spine. We were in Florida, and I bought it at a Blockbuster for $20. It was like a greatest hits, and I enjoyed playing it a lot. Just Dance didn't. I mean, Ubisoft didn't have a showcase, so it had to show it somewhere. So come out on.
They got to show that game somewhere each year. Yeah.
So of course it was gonna be here in Nintendo. Where, by the way, that game was like a bestseller on the Wii.
Yeah. That is where it was by far most popular. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're interested for 40 new tracks, on top of if you keep paying the subscription that brings all the music from all the other ones, it's like that's this year's edition. Apex Legends coming to Switch 2 on August 5th. We can move on from that. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, the fighting game from last October, coming on to the Switch 2 on November 14th. And quick hits from also the showcase: Borderlands 4 on October 3rd, Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven out today. Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Wheat Flower Wonderland coming on fall 2025. Shinobi Art of the Vengeance, a demo available now, and launch date moved a week to August 29th because this was August 22nd originally. NBA Bounce September 26th, and Good Night Universe November 11th, and that was the direct. So again, kind of like I said, not very much here. So can't wait for the real direct whenever that happens. Maybe September. September's usually their times. So it's either that or we're gonna get another indie showcase sometime soon. Now let's blast through a couple quick headlines that are just basically self-explanatory as we wrap up this week's episode. Itch.io has hidden its entire not safe for work games library as payment providers pressure stores.
Visa and MasterCard, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it's so weird that how this whole censorship thing has been happening from those like payment processors out of nowhere. I actually recommend go watch the virtual legality from Rick Hogue about the whole thing.
Hogue's been up on this. I give him a lot of credit for that. Actually.
Yeah, he's like, if you want a very vicious for him takedown of the infringement of free speech that this like does and the slippery slope, definitely go watch that. That entire like
without getting heavily into it. So I am probably one of the most anti-government people. I think I'm not a fucking anarchist. I'm not saying I'm out in the streets rioting, but I'm very much anti-government, right? And I'm very much anti-legislation on anything that doesn't need to be legislated. It is time with this what's happening. There needs to be legislation put into place that says a credit card holder or whatever, a financial institution cannot dictate what a private entity can or cannot be selling.
Yes.
They should have zero control over this.
Yeah, because it's like this, it's Pandora's box. It takes one thing going through with this thing, and then a lot of bad faith people are gonna start wanting to then censor even the most benign stuff. It amazes
me the amount of people I've seen saying like, well, these are just weird games. And they are weird games. I'm not gonna dispute that, right?
Yeah.
So why would I care? It's like because those weird games suddenly become God of War, and they suddenly become Grand Theft Auto, and they suddenly become whatever. Maybe not Grand Theft Auto because the payment companies be losing a hell of a lot of money, but this is non-elected people.
Yes,
basically enforcing law without putting it through law. This is a bad thing, and there is no gray zone to this. This is a black and white issue. This is wrong. What is happening is wrong, and everybody needs to stand up against this.
Yeah, it's like this is beyond just M ratings. Like whenever the ESRB was like built, like was created as kind of like a way to like eliminate any regulation happening within this industry. This is another kind of thing that is like it's opening like the Christian moms, the bad faith people that want to censor everything. It's like that's this is what it opens the door to, like allowing this to happen. Because I know it was like a bad faith group that started this initiative, like back in Australia. That was already there's already a pretty censor. They don't like selling like violent stuff down there. Like I remember Left 4 Dead 2 got a very nerfed version down in Australia because they couldn't show like blood and all of that, and it was like their ratings board in Australia is really fucking stupid. Yeah, so it's like, but we don't want that to be like the entire world, and there's like a undercurrent of censorship that kick started out of a sudden. I feel like if you're looking at social media, like something happened in the UK too that was also tangentially related to this. It's like definitely like I'm not the expert for this. This is the headline. Go to look at go to Rick Hoke's Twitter and find his virtual legality. He has it. I think he
Yeah,
tagged at the top.
he's
So
been talking a lot about it because a lot of people were asking about it,
yeah,
and yeah, he's pretty spot on what he's saying. It's like you've got to be against this. You have to be against this.
yeah. Next headline. Sony sues Tencent claiming its Light of Motor Ram game is a slavish clone of its Horizon series. Everyone with a common sense.
I'll say you have to have working eyes to
Yes.
realize that's the case.
And apparently why Sony like had a case was that apparently Tencent wanted to license Horizon.
Yeah, they had basically pitched an Asian version of, or not an Asian version, a version of Horizon that was going to be in Asia. And when Sony turned it down, they clearly just turned it into this.
Yes, so it's like that's pretty good like grounds for that's pretty good grounds for a lawsuit.
And look, like I'm totally against like Nintendo with the whole Pal World thing and all that. This is a different story because this is pretty fucking blatant. Like this is the Pal World thing. That's parody. There's a difference. And by parody, I mean like South Park style parody, right? This is straight up infringement, and there's no question about it whatsoever.
It's like it's so blatant, it's not even funny. Even when you look at the art, like just at the concept art,
if you were to like squint so that you can see it but not make out details, you would actually think it's a picture of Horizon. That's actually how much it looks exactly the same.
Yeah, and let's see how long it takes them to take this out. Maybe like what this lawsuit does is that it keeps it just in China. Maybe that's like it'd be like you cannot sell this.
My guess is they'll probably basically say like you just have to change the art style, and that's more or less like in the picture of it on the right. Well, looking at it on the right, there's some robot thing which fucking looks exactly like a giant what do they call it, the grazer or whatever. So they'll probably have to like it even has like the way that the mechanical things look on it. So they'll probably have to change that too. But other than that, changing the art style would probably be sufficient enough to do it. They can't tell them they have to have different gameplay systems. But they will have to change the way it looks because it is pretty clearly a blatant ripoff.
Yes, Sony has grounds here, like, and everyone
absolutely.
That Sony doesn't is like, no, F off, like literally.
You don't know what you're talking about. It like because this is straight copyright.
And you have the thing,
there's no question about it.
Knowing that Tencent wanted to do a version of that, you know where the intent is, and intent can be like very easy to prove with like such blatant similarities there. So. Next headline, Dying Light the Beast delayed 1 month to September 19th. Originally, this was also going to come out on August 22nd. I played Dying Light the Beast at Summer Game Fest for an hour. I played it with
I've heard pretty good things about it, actually.
It's shockingly good. It's so shockingly good, like knowing its origins as another DLC for Dying Light 2.
Well, Dying Light 2 now is much, much better than what it was before.
Even has PS5 Pro enhancements, I saw.
Yeah, they just released that last month.
And Dying Light 1, even the PS4 version, they redid the art style too. It's like, it looks...
they redid the lighting and some texture work and stuff, Yeah,
I was playing it, I was like, holy crap. It's like, these guys have been like they really have treated Dying Light 1 like with such care that it's wild that 10 years on that they still like kept updating it. And makes sense because Dying Light the Beast is more in the vein of the original one than the sequel. So it's like beautiful, like what they're doing with their engine, really beautiful. It's like it's smoother than ever in its jump in its parkour, and the combat feels very, very chunky. Weapon, like actual guns, are back from the start like that. Eventually, I think got patched into Dying Light 2.
They have them now, but it took about
a year almost.
2 years, 2.5 years maybe.
Yeah, after initially they were like, we're just trying to focus on melee.
You got like a crossbow, but they added actual firearms into it because people kept saying we want guns. So they did add some in,
Yeah. So, and they said there's a reason why they didn't call it Dying Light 3, even though it's like a continuation of the character from 1 and some ideas from 2.
Crane again,
So September 19th, delayed to probably the worst of the hellhole there, but
it's a good reason for delay though. They said it's 100% for polishing purposes.
Yes, and it was pretty polished in the PC version I played. Let's see how it is on consoles, because Dying Light 2's launch state
was rough. It was rough. Yeah, it was rough.
Which was a bummer because Dying Light 1's launch state, it was one of the especially in that era. After the 2014 fall where every game launched busted, Dying Light launched like really right. I was like, oh, good, a working game.
Yeah, it was an early must-have PS4 title.
Yes. Other headline. This one's funny, but also has an undercurrent tragedy to it. Elden Ring's two-player mode patch has been delayed due to tsunami warnings. It was originally going to launch yesterday from when we're recording. So, Night Rain, either you played solo or you could only play with like three people. You couldn't just
Hmm.
do it with
Right.
two people. So, they promised from launch that they were going to do it. So it was happening. But I mean, there was that big earthquake in Russia. That was one of the worst
Mm-hmm.
earthquakes in human history. It's like in that list of
Mm-hmm.
like the worst earthquakes in human history. And there was like,
Eighth worst in recorded history, I believe, is what I heard.
yeah,
It was like an 8.8 on the Richter scale, which is hard to
yes.
believe.
Yes, and to think that the disaster zone from Japan, the one that back in 2011
Mm-hmm.
that delayed Motorstorm Apocalypse, was
Mm-hmm.
8.7. Just to kind of give you, it's like it was
Mm,
around that.
yeah.
And even then, there was like a tsunami waves that hit Japan because it just everyone that was like in the we were in warning too. Thankfully, I
Mm.
was in the
Oh, really?
mountains. Yeah, we were in the warning, but it was like
Wow.
North America was the one that was like more. You guys are like better.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I remember. I mean, obviously, I'm on the East Coast, but I do remember hearing that there were some worries of
Mhm.
not tsunamis,
In
but
Hawaii
but
specifically. Yeah.
okay, yeah, well, that makes sense. But even the West Coast of the continental United States, there were worries of large
Mhm.
tidal surges from it.
Yeah. So that makes sense why it would be delayed. I don't think they said when the patch is coming, but if you're still playing Elden Ring Night Rain and you're waiting for that, that's coming soon. Just be aware.
Mm, mm.
And finally, final headline. Following Suicide Squad's flop, Warner Bros. Is hiring for another live service game in the superhero genre.
Which just reinforces how good leadership is in the gaming industry right now.
Oh, yeah. It's like, see, one of the most blatant, most notorious failures in modern game history that
The
only.
problem is that it did actually sell well, and
Mhm.
that was the difference compared to a lot of the other big failures.
Yes, it had an initial great sale, but because they wanted the live service and they lost so much money. It was like
Yeah,
Concord took it from them, but Suicide Squad was the biggest flop of last year.
yeah.
Like handily, hand over fist. It was like that was
Was it
number
last
one.
year? God damn, it seems so much longer ago than that.
Yes, yes. It was like a. I was such a big believer in that game after I played the NDA at Alpha because I was like, this seems better than I thought it would be, all things considered, and then it just kept getting
Which
worse.
one? Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad, yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
see, I played the alpha and I was like, this is awful. I thought it
yeah,
was terrible.
I enjoyed it. It's just everything after the alpha was like bad. When I started playing, I was like,
Really?
oh yeah, it fell apart really quickly for me. And I had like whenever we got story, I enjoyed what the story because the production value was like that's Rocksteady. I was like, yeah, the
Mm,
production value is there, but it was like then the story kept making less and less sense when I started seeing kind of where it was leading. That then it would just blatantly set up the live service. Oh yeah, you skill brain, but here's 13 more that are coming
all
within
right,
the
all
next few
right.
months. I was like.
And then they didn't even have the balls to kill the Justice League permanently, which you knew was going to happen.
Yes,
When everyone melted down, I'm like, guys, it's
yes,
DC. How many
yeah,
times has Batman died? A
hmm
million.
yes,
He's not dead permanently.
yeah.
And
It
then,
was like a,
lo and
it was
behold, he comes back.
exactly. It was cowardly. It was
Yeah,
a cowardly game, all things considered, and it only besmirched Rocksteady's name and the
yeah,
Arkhamverse, like because it's
yeah.
like it's canon to the Arkhamverse, unfortunately. So it's like
I desperately wish that they would have made Gotham Knights instead, and like
yeah,
actually had Gotham Knights be the canonical follow up because
hmm it makes sense.
unfortunately that game wasn't great, but with the right touch and following that universe, there could have been something there.
It's
That
insane to me that the Gotham Knights premise leads perfectly out of Arkham Knight,
it
like to
does.
the
That's the
T.
amazing part. That is the
It,
amazing part.
and but
Although
they
now I don't know if he's right or not. I'm gonna assume he is. But Luke said that Gotham Knights actually originally was supposed to be the follow up, and then they all switched course,
yeah,
and they ended up doing Justice League.
yeah,
Whereas was it WB Montreal? I think is who made
yeah. So it was like
Gotham Knights.
so W Montreal was gonna do a Damian Wayne game that was gonna be a follow up to the Arkham Knight ending. But then they decided to be like, let's make it its own universe, kind of like halfway through the street, like halfway through like development. They're like, let's try to make it our own thing, and I'm like, you shouldn't have done that because the
Yeah.
funny thing is that it's so similar in like not aesthetic, but kind of like in at first glance, you could easily see the oh yeah, this could be like a
Well,
follow up to the Arkham
and
games.
then also, all four of those characters were in the Arkhamverse already anyway.
Exactly.
So what it wasn't like you had to stretch to bring one of them in. They were
Mhm.
all there, and
Exactly.
you could have taken out all the stupid supernatural shit they did and all that
hmm
stuff.
Yeah, it's like
And yeah, it's like unfortunately there was a
there
lot
was
of
a
people
good
like,
idea
oh,
there.
there were people like, I just wanted to play as Batman, and I'm like, well, it's because you're an idiot. Because reality is, you played as Batman for 4 games. But there is other stuff in this universe. They just didn't make a very good game. Was the problem?
And what sucks is that they took them so long to make these 2 damn DC games that the opportunity because of maybe those fans getting another Batman game that's not the VR. The VR one's pretty good, I heard. The one that came out on the Arkham Shadows, it's like apparently so damn good that it's like a crime that it's just a VR only for the people, for the Batman fans that have been starved. Because I feel like the idea of like, okay, we've had Batman for a while, let's do the sidekicks. There's amazing comic stories based on the sidekicks.
And Arkham Knight, I don't think you played. Well, I guess if you counted the whatever you call them modes, you could play as all 4 of them.
Yes.
And it was like each one of them had reasons for being a separate playable character. So it showed this idea worked, right? And frankly, I was like, hey, the most interesting part of the game to me is that Batman actually gets killed and you play as people follow. I was like, that's a good idea. It's just like, unfortunately, that was the end of the good idea. Well, the dealing with the Court of Owls was a good idea too.
Yeah.
But everything else that they decided was a bad idea.
Yeah, Gotham Knights, unfortunately, is like you saw you see the live service game that they were building that they chickened out at the end, but they left the systems in place and the progression. Like, I wish they could have patched the game that eliminated having to do all the BS to get to the main missions. I wish they could be like a main mission. I feel like just a main.
There weren't enough of them that it would be like a 3-hour game if you did that. That's just it.
That's a problem, but it's like at least a way to play it that way. At least you could get something good out of it instead of having to do all the BS in the middle and having to unlock the traversal for all of the characters. Man, I was like, DC fans have had it rough. Like I tell you, it's like it sucks. Like the last good game they got was Injustice 2 in 2017. It's been 8 years.
But that said,
yeah.
You're a DC fan, you deserve to have it bad because DC sucks.
Like
Batman's the only thing that doesn't blow. So,
if only I could get a Superman game. But well, regardless, that's the end of the headlines. Time to read the release dates for the week of August 3rd to August 9th. Can believe it's August already. Birthday month.
That's crazy.
So, Apex Legends comes to Switch 2 on August 5th. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles 2 comes to everything except Switch 2 on August 5th. Disco Elysium, the final cut, the Android version comes on August 5th too. Snufki and Melody of Moomin Valley comes to iOS and Android on August 6th. Endless Legends 2 Early Access comes to PC on August 7th. Fruit Bus comes to Xbox Series X and S and Switch on August 7th. Gradius Origins comes to PS5, Series X, Switch and PC on August 7th. Hidden Memories of the Gardens Between comes to Quest 3, Quest 2 and PC on August 7th. The Royal Rid comes to PC on August 7th. Tiny Bookshop comes to PC and Mac on August 7th. Cat Quest 3 comes to Mac, iOS and Android on August 8th. And last but certainly not least, Mafia the Old Country comes to PS5, Series X and S and PC on August 8th. And
ending strong.
Yes, and Redheaded Stepchild is the one that's reviewing it for SG. He certainly has quite the review record with Dragon Age the Veilguard, Avowed, Mind's Eye.
All I can say is this: he hates Mafia 2, and he likes Mind's Eye.
Yes.
so when you read that review, very much keep that in mind, please.
Oh yes. I forgot about that because he's ranted about Mafia.
Yeah, I love Mafia 2. I'm not quite sure. I mean, it has pacing issues. I'll go along with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know why he hates it so much.
Yeah, Mafia 2 is the one that he absolutely hates. He likes 1 and 3 he likes okay. But it's like...
3 has an amazing story that unfortunately has gameplay.
An open world. An open world that holds it back. It's the Gotham Knights problem.
That's actually why I genuinely am pretty confident in this, because stripping the open world, I think is the best idea they've had for
back
this
to Mafia
long
1.
Time.
It's back to Mafia 1.
Well, Mafia 1 still technically did have an open world. You just didn't use it that much. This I don't think has an open world at all. I think it's like level based.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some levels do have driving in them, but I don't think there's an open world.
I'm excited for that. It's $50 too. So
this game looks awesome.
Yeah, and I know that IGN has been doing the preview cycle. One beta of the melee combat was the one that looked a little.
Yeah, the melee combat looks bad, but it was pretty bad in the other ones too.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, they didn't quite fix that, but the visuals look great. Like the vibe of Sicily, Italy looks great. Excited. I'm hoping
voice acting is incredible, but I mean that is the point of that. I mean, those are such heavy story.
I'm hoping it's good. I feel like Dawn has become such a
An
harbinger.
enigma. An enigma.
Such a it's like he has become such a harbinger of doom at this point that I'm like, I worried that him decided to pick this has basically like soiled this game, but let's hope not.
In his defense, he was excited for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and that probably came out even better than any of us were
Yes.
expecting it to. So
Yeah, so it's a crapshoot.
So he has a rough track record, I agree, but it's
Yes.
not completely negative.
Yeah, he was high on Avowed. We know how Avowed went.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's Mafia, the old countries for me for next week.
Absolutely,
Everything else,
man.
yeah, everything
all in on
else I'm not interested in. But
I fully expect Old Country to jump up to space number 4 for me.
yeah, crossing fingers. I would love nothing to have like a good Mafioso game again. It's been a while. It's been like 9 years since Mafia 3. Like damn, like 2016. So
yeah,
maybe 8 because Mafia 3 came out in October 2016 and we're in August. So getting close to the 9 years in between entries. That's a long time. But Definitive Edition came out in 2020, so it's been 5 years since that. And Definitive Edition of Mafia 1 was good. And that brings us to the end of this week's episode of the X Button. Rick, where can people find you?
Butch4969 on all the socials. Fridays, 7:30 p.m. YouTube.com/spreadingthenerd. We didn't have an episode last week, but I do believe we're having one tomorrow. Well,
yeah.
Today, I guess, when you listen to this. So
awesome. I might tune in. I haven't tuned in a while, so I need to add chaos in the chat.
I actually am gonna, for once, assuming Clint lets me, because we didn't get to do it last week. I actually was gonna start talking a little bit about movies that I had seen recently. Nothing too exciting. Nothing too exciting. Don't get too.
Yeah, I love to hear what you've been watching, just out of curiosity, because that's something that we usually don't talk about. So
I mean, I'll tell you, it's not like it's a big secret. So it's 2 movies I was going to talk about this time. They're actually both Pixar movies. It just happened to work out that way.
Mm-hmm.
I had never seen Turning Red before, and I saw that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a Chinese one, right?
Chinese Canadian.
Yeah,
Chinese Canadian.
Yeah. So.
And I had seen Soul, but I could not remember anything about it. Mm-hmm. So I was going to kind of talk about that. That one I did like it. It's got issues, but I did like it.
Yeah, Turning Red's not that good. So...
Yeah, Turning Red sucks. I think Turning Red was actually maybe the worst Pixar movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, but I can't wait to hear it. I'll try to tune in tomorrow if I'm not in the gym around that time. And you can find me at @A_Drew on Twitter, at @A_Segovia on Blue Sky, and my writing over at seasongaming.com. I haven't done an official review in a while, but you can read my recent Death Stranding 2 reflection, how that game hit, like over there. Plus my backlog of reviews that I've done, and also a lot of previews that I did for Summer Game Fest. So not much reviews, but I've written quite a lot for the site this year. And you can always find us here at the X Bottom Podcast every Fridays from 10 a.m. onwards, depending on when I get the thumbnail and when the internet decides to cooperate wherever I am. But it will always go live, starting from whenever we always say, right in this channel and in your audio service of your choice. If you like what you listen or watch, give us a like, a subscribe, maybe leave a review. I like whenever I see some of those in the Spotify's. And happy end of July. Basically, when you're listening to this, it's happy August. I know for some people, one of the worst.
We're 2 hours from it for me, so.
Yeah, so basically, for some people, one of the worst months because that's when school starts. For some people, one of the best months because that's when they were born. But
or for some of us, that's when school starts. No, not that I have kids, but just get the kids away from me. That's all.
Yeah, precisely. It hits different when you're older. But
yes.
Enjoy August and play some games. Enjoy the weekend then.
Press X
To play. Hasta la vista, baby.